You are now in the arena. Welcome to Gridiron, presented by Underdog.
Woo, woo.
My name is Kinsey. I am your host. And you guys, it is draft week. Let me introduce my guys. We have one of the most prolific figures in the history of sports media and the man who's never lost a debate, Skip Bayless.
Turn.
Super Bowl champion, 5-time Pro Bowler, and 2-time All-Pro cornerback, Aqib Talib.
Yeah.
All-Pro, 6-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle, one of the most disruptive D tackles in his generation, Gerald McCoy.
Yeah.
I'm Batman.
The king of quarterback breakdowns and top 5 passer in USC Trojan history, Cody Kessler.
Yes, Cody.
Go, Cody.
And because it's draft week, we wanted to bring back one of our guys who is actually one of the world's top draft experts. Welcome, Underdog's Hayden Wing.
Hey.
The notes,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm trying to be like Skip with all the notepads.
I know.
You better be. So it's an honor to be on this couch with these two draft legends. And quick story about this guy to my left. Cody Kessler went late third round, 2016, but had been to the Senior Bowl with Jason Garrett, the Cowboy coach, and staff, and impressed them. I
It
think
went well.
clicked.
Had a good week.
So theoretically, if the Browns hadn't taken you late third, Cowboys are sitting there in the 4th round, ready to take maybe you instead of Dak Prescott. Cody could have been Dak Prescott. You ever thought of that?
Hey, Cody.
You never know, you know what I'm saying?
You just never know.
Dak's my guy. You know what, Skip? I would have loved that. I will say this, though. There's been a lot of things said about Cleveland, but I am forever grateful for that. They took an opportunity or took a chance on me. I got drafted there, and I got to live out my dream of playing in the NFL. But, yeah, it would have been pretty cool to go to Dallas as well. I would have been just fine with that.
And let me say this to Hayden. I've been doing this for a long time, and I cannot remember a draft more unpredictable through the first round than this one. It is all over the map, and crazy stuff is about to happen.
The more I look at it, I think it's just going to be trade after trade after trade in the top 10 because no one has a good feel for what's going to happen. Yeah.
Good. We do.
There we go.
I know, we're going to find out. But we had a busy weekend because even though it's off season, so much is going on, including the big Dexter Lawrence trade. We've been talking about forever what's going to happen, and we find out he's going to the Bengals. So we're going to talk about that and if they gave up too much to get him. And then, of course, obviously draft week, we're going to dive into that with Hayden. He has his whole mock draft, which has shifted since we spoke to you last. So I'm excited to hear about
Mock
that.
draft 16.0.
Every single day.
Every day. And then Hayden's mock draft does not have the Cowboys trading up. So we got to get Skip's opinion about this because we went back and forth about this. But as always, you guys, this episode is presented by Underdog. Underdog's available in most states, including Texas, California, and Florida. New customers get $50 in bonus entries when they play. Just $5 to get started. Just use code GRID when you sign up, and it's going to load instantly. So Underdog, make picks, win money with code GRID. So no better way to celebrate draft week than I think we need to throw it back to our guys here on the couch. I'm going to start with Lieb over here because let's play a clip first. Let's give Lieb
Who that, Tampa Bay?
Hey.
Look at him.
See what Gruden talking about, man. He told me if you make it to me, we getting you. He told me that if he had a chance to get me, if I failed to number 20, be waiting for that 813 area code because he was going to get me. Oh, shit. Hello? What's up, Coach?
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm good, Coach.
Just sitting here on the clock. I wanted to call you. You want to be a buck or not?
You damn right I want to be a buck, Coach. I'm waiting. Let's go.
You know you're my guy, right?
Yes, sir.
You know this Steve Smith is driving me crazy in Carolina, don't you?
Let's get him, Coach. Let's get him then. Let's make it happen, Coach.
Well, I'm gonna try to talk our general manager into this, but you won't let me down, will you?
No, sir.
I think we're sending it right now, big boy.
With the 20th pick in the 2008 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Aqib Talib.
We got you,
Is it
man.
on
You're
TV?
a buck.
Is it on
You're a
TV?
buck, man.
I guess that shit locked in for real. Let's go. I love you. That was crazy.
Lieb, I need to know, how was draft night for you?
Oh, it was amazing, man. It was a party. It was a great party, man. We started at the house, ended at the club. It was a dream come true for real. So I wouldn't change it for the world.
I think you look the exact same. The only thing that's different is your voice.
Yeah, man.
Your voice is deeper now.
He was a little bit skinny leave at that point.
Yeah.
True, he was
good
pretty
now.
skinny.
Lot
Maybe
of
just
lunch
because your
dates.
pants were 5 times
that
too big.
was pre-millions leave.
Yeah,
Pre-M's leave.
My fit still was like
Yeah.
5,000, you know.
Yeah.
Oh my
Still
Them little advances.
had that
yeah.
advance.
Right, I know. Hey, them advances be.
100,000 advance, you feel me?
Yeah.
Nah, it was a good day though.
It was a good day.
Went
And
to
yeah,
the
you
world.
spent it with your family. You said you preferred that over
Oh yeah,
being
yeah,
in.
yeah. It was that you couldn't really see everybody. It was just like the immediate family who kind of came outside, but the house was packed, man. It was everybody I love was in there, so I wouldn't change it for the world.
And,
Good for you.
And of course, you weren't the only one drafted in the first round over here. So we gotta give it to the other guy who was also drafted to Florida. So Gerald, you were a trendsetter because you were actually the first guy ever to hug Roger Goodell.
Yeah.
So I mean, you've always been a trendsetter with your outfits, now this. So let's pull up Gerald.
With the third pick in the 2010 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Gerald McCoy, defensive tackle, Oklahoma.
I waited all 7 minutes. Right back up, man.
That was
It just went live.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. That it went quick. It went quick. A lot of people don't understand, man. That green room is nerve-wracking. Like even if you like the night before, my agent came and he kind of went down all the picks. He told everybody, boom, 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 boom. He didn't miss until like 13. He had them all down, but you never know. So you sitting in there, and we get there early, so you just kind of looking around like, dang, man, I remember. And we was the first night of prime time. Because remember, it used to be Saturday morning, which is what I grew up watching, but this was just completely different. But you sit in there, and you just like, you know, and then Roger Goodell say the draft's officially open. As soon as he said that, Sam Bradford's phone rang. I'm like, dang, they don't waste no time.
Yeah.
But that hug, man, that's just me. Anybody been around me, y'all know it's just how I am. That's authentically me.
Did
From
you
Oklahoma,
know
we
you
just
were going to be
hugged.
third?
Did I know I was gonna be third?
Yeah.
I was told the night before, but you never know.
You never know because
You never know.
Because Ozzy told me if I was there at 11, he was getting me at 11. So 11 pick came, I was, waiting for that Baltimore area code. Whoop,
Yeah.
they traded back to 16. So I'm like, all right, well, it might still get me at 16. 16 came, they got Flacco. So then I was like, oh shit, I ain't know what was going on. I knew Gruden told me if you're there at 20, we getting you. Then 20 came, I got that 813. But so, hey, they'll lie to you now.
Yeah.
But
But
what you want to hear now.
yeah, my draft visits though, I will say this. I only visited the top 4 teams. So I didn't go anywhere else. So I was like, at least
So you knew you were going to.
one of these 4. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
I visited
That's on
everybody but the
confidence.
Cowboys.
Really?
31 visits.
I know you was hot.
Shit, I was living a dream,
See,
baby.
they made
Right
another
straight.
mistake, right?
Hey, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
All right, guys. Well, the energy is high. We're going to talk a lot about the draft, obviously. But first things first, you guys know I love the Bengals, so we got to get right into this because the Bengals traded the number 10 pick in the draft straight up for Giants D tackle Dexter Lawrence. We've been talking about on the couch for a little bit what was going to happen with Dexter Lawrence. We know he wanted out of there. I've seen on the internet people are saying the Bengals got fleeced. I'm going to say personally, I absolutely love this, so I can't wait to get your guys' opinion. But the Bengals have not drafted a Pro Bowl defender in 15 years. Clearly, they're struggling to draft. Joe Burrow's in his prime. He is on the cusp of leaving. Make this man happy. Get good defensive players now. I love it, but let me get the boys to argue about it. They know more than me. Gerald, what do you think? Did they give up too much for Dexter Lawrence, the Bengals?
Man, I thought about this for a second, and I thought about it a couple different ways. I said, okay, you look at Dexter Lawrence and his career, it's kind of been up and down. There was a point where at his peak, he was easily top 5 D tackle at his peak. But then you look at last year, it's like, dang, what the heck happened? You got 2 Pro Bowl DNs, you bring in the 3rd overall pick, he's a rusher, so this should make you better. This should make things easier, but then he had his worst year. So I didn't know if it was, he just wasn't happy being there or what. I didn't know what was going on. But then I think about the Cincinnati Bengals and I think about their current situation and then I think about their past. And you just mentioned it. They haven't drafted a Pro Bowl, All-Pro level defender since my draft, and that was Geno Atkins and Carlos Dunlap. Yeah. You know how long ago that was? Yeah. So then I started thinking, okay, what is a team thinking? We don't draft. They're not like the Cowboys. Skip, the Cowboys can draft. I don't care whether the drought of the 30 years or whatever, they can draft. They always draft in Pro Bowl, All-Pro, Hall of Fame caliber players. They just draft well, so they value draft picks. Cincinnati probably like, man, forget the draft picks because whoever we get at 10 can't give us what Dexter Lawrence is. So they just said, you know what? We're just going to pull the trigger. Our Achilles heel has been our defense, and this is one of those, to get somewhere you never been, you got to do something you never done. This is not what Cincinnati do. So they just switched it up. They trying something different. They brought in Jonathan Allen. He's a Pro Bowl D tackle. Brian Cook, he's a safety. He's won a Super Bowl. Boye, I can't pronounce his name. Mafe. He's just won the Super Bowl. So you brought in 2 Super Bowl winners on defense. Yep. Then you drafted Shamar Stewart last year. Then Demetrius Knight, who had a great rookie season at linebacker. You're just trying to bolster this defense. So when I think about they're in this win now mentality, and that winning window is small. You know, they got to keep Joe upright. But you get this defense rolling with how Joe is, you got the best wide receiver in the league, you got a shot. So I'm going to say they made the right decision by doing this because who were you going to get at that pick where you like, you know what, I can get me a Dexter Lawrence. So I like it, man. At first I was like, but then once I really broke down the situation, I said, yeah, I like Dexter going there.
I think the plan was to draft a defensive starter at number 10. And shit, you want him to be Pro Bowl. You want him to come in and start, be a Pro Bowler. If I got a chance to get a for sure starter and a previous Pro Bowler, I mean, why not? I mean, this dude, 2-time All-Pro, second-team All-Pro. He a Pro Bowler. He a starter for you. And you hit on it. They in the process of building up this defense. You bring in Mafe, Cook, Jonathan Allen. You paired Dexter Lawrence with Jonathan Allen. Now, shit, I feel like you own something. Cook had an amazing season for the Chiefs last year. It was one of their bright spots. You look at his PFF, Skip. You know that PFF. He was dark green. That's good, Skip. If you blue, you cooking. Yep. You know what I'm saying? He was dark green, almost blue, like 84, 85 or something like that. So he had a great season, man. That's a great guy to let lead the show on the back end, man. So if I'm building up my defense, man, I add Dexter Lawrence to the fold. You know, I feel like we going in the right direction. You might can still get a corner early second round. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Hood, maybe Chris Johnson. Maybe them guys will be there right at the beginning of that second round. Them 2 good corners who may be there. You can still add to that secondary, add to that defense. So you don't need not a player on offense. You building your defense with Pro Bowl caliber guys, Super Bowl champions, like he said. So I feel like they're in the right direction, man. I ain't mad at the pick. I ain't mad at the trade at all.
For me, it just comes down to which version of Dexter are we getting. Because last year, or two years ago, he dislocated his elbow, comes back this last year. You watch him try to take on all these double teams because he gets that like every play. And it's just different when he wasn't able to lock things out and his feet were kind of sliding underneath him. I'm guessing he's going to have a bounce-back season, but there's some on-off splits. Like the 3 years before, 13% pressure. Last year, 8%. And then some of the run stopping, he was getting blown off on some of these double teams, which is like we haven't seen in 4 years. So I'm assuming it's the elbow injury, but the thing that makes me nervous is that happened in 2024, and then all of 2025 just could not get it going. But when you watch the tape, like huge elbow brace on the entire time, and I think that was probably definitely affecting him.
Yeah, I like this move. I know statistically his numbers dropped this past season, but he's still one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL. And what makes him so valuable is the attention that he demands every single play. You talked about it. He was double teamed 70% of the time last year. That was third most for interior defensive linemen. In 2024, he was double teamed 74% of the snaps. That was most out of every defensive tackle in the NFL, and he still can produce at a high level. And that's also important, too, because it gives the guys around him an opportunity to make plays. You get a lot of one-on-one opportunities on the outside. Brian Burns last year had 16 sacks. He got a ton of one-on-one opportunities because offensive coordinators are so focused on not allowing Dexter Lawrence to disrupt their game plan that he gets a lot of the attention. Also, we're talking about a top 10 pick. So, yes, there's a lot of value, but I'm a firm believer that draft picks are question marks. You never really know what a guy is going to be when they get to the NFL, so there's always that risk factor involved. Dexter Lawrence isn't a question mark. He's a proven player who's still only 28 years old. A lot of people talk about him like he's out of his prime. He could just potentially be entering his prime. I know he had a down year, but the years before that, he's produced at a high level. Also, the Bengals picking at number 10, it's not even a guarantee they're going to get the guy that they want. So why even take that risk and sit back? Get a guy that you know can come in. You talk about the other moves they made this offseason. Statistically, they've been one of the worst defenses in the NFL year after year. I love this move, and I think they're going to take a huge step forward in 2026 on that side of the ball.
I'm surprised everybody's loving it.
Except for Skip.
Skip. Was Skip hooning you 3 times?
When I first heard this, I thought you got fleeced because just on the surface, at a glance, wait a second. You just gave up the 10th pick for a guy coming off not just a bad year, a terrible year. And I get everything Hayden said about the brace and the elbow issue, but he had a terrible year with just a half a sack and his tackles fell in half. He was a non-factor for a defense that has been bad for 3 straight years. They've been 26th, 21st, and 26th in yards allowed over the last 3 years, with Dexter Lawrence the previous 2 years having a pretty good year, a Pro Bowl year. And now I'm saying Dexter Lawrence wants more money. He wants $30 million a year coming off that year for a bad defense surrounded by first-round picks. All around him were first-round picks. Brian Burns, Thibodeau, Abdul Carter. He's got first-rounders everywhere. So I'm saying, shouldn't that help him a little bit to have that kind of pass rush around him, even though Thibodeau hadn't lived up, and I'm not sure about Abdul Carter yet. Didn't see it last year. But Brian Burns had a monster year for them for, once again, a bad defense. Okay, so then I wake up this morning and I read Adam Schefter's piece on ESPN.com, and it had some bombshells in it. The first one was a quote from a GM that said, "This is not a great year to have a top 10 pick." And I think, except for a couple of guys, that's pretty true. Another GM told Adam Schefter that the first half of round 1 is uninspiring this year. A lot of good players, not a lot of star power. Okay, so given that, I'm looking at the 10th pick as, okay, and you've been saying all along, well, you can get a very good player. Can you get a superstar at 10 or 9 or 8 or they've got 5 and 10 now? Can you get a superstar at 5? Not sure about that. So this morning I'm starting to think, okay, maybe giving up 10 wasn't so bad. In a vacuum, it looks terrible because just in any other year, you just wouldn't do that for that guy. And he will be 29. You could be saying he's entering his prime. I don't know about that. I'm not sure. He now says
he's not out of it.
Yeah, he now says his fire is lit like it's never been. So you got chip on shoulder going to Cincinnati, and I do love that. And the other thing I loved was I waited for the other shoe to drop last night. He wanted $30 million a year, and if I'm reading this right, and I still, the final tally hadn't come out yet from the Bengals, but I think they only gave him 1 year of extension at the end of, he's got 2 already at 22-ish. Okay, so 2, that's very reasonable for you. The first 2 years are like steals. And the third year, they gave him 28. Okay, but that's 3 years out from now, and 28, 3 years from now, will seem like cookie jar money, right? It'll just be silly money. Well, so really, you pulled off something because you need to show Joe Burrow we did something. We went out and got a real guy. We're not just drafting some kid hoping he comes through for us. This guy is he made 3 straight Pro Bowls. He's been a first-team All-Pro, so we got a real guy for you. Because if you don't, the Bengals over the last 3 years, if you do their average yards allowed per season, they're dead last in the NFL. Yeah. They're even worse than Dallas is, okay? So you got a guy, and you got a couple other guys, Mafe and Jonathan Allen. Again, are they great players? No, but can they help? Will Brian Cook help? Yes, he'll help. So you have to be a little better next year just on the surface of you got some guys who have proven in the league they're pretty good. Okay? So all said, if I look at this draft for defensive tackles, I don't see any. I don't see a star in there anywhere. I don't, even if you could maneuver around and try to get him, I don't see it. And I read this morning, next year's draft is devoid of defensive tackles. There's nobody on the horizon that you could say over the next 2 years is going to be Dexter Lawrence. There's not a you. Okay? So now it starts to make sense. The 10th pick in most years is pretty valuable. It's too valuable for Dexter Lawrence to me. I wouldn't do that until now. And circumstantially, within this year, I'm with the group that you pulled it off. I would say, go Bengals, go, because you got a real guy coming off a bad year who at least gives you hope for next year and makes Joe Burrow think, okay, now we got a shot.
And this is the first time in franchise history that
ever
the
done
Cincinnati
that.
Bengals have ever traded a pick just straight for a player number 10.
And sometimes
so
it
it's
can
like
be
they're
deceiving. Like, I ain't seen he had a good year, but if I get all the double teams, all the attention, and there's a guy on the end who come away, he's second in the league in sacks, I got something to do with that.
Okay.
I gotta say I got something to do with that. You say the other side, Thibodeau
And
Burns,
Abdul-Carter.
shit, they combined for 7 sacks.
Thibodeau been a double-digit guy before?
Yeah, I know. He had 11 and a half. So, I mean, I gotta say I got something to do with that. So just because your number's down, I don't think it always means that you had a down year.
Okay. So how was the Giants' defense so bad with Dexter Lawrence and all those number 1 picks? That's what I can't fathom. I just don't. For 3 years, they have not been very good.
Because they got, when you think about the defensive lineman they got, I played with Burnsy. Burnsy's a pass rusher. Thibodeau, all he want to do is rush the passer.
Right.
All Abdul-Carter want to do is rush the passer.
Okay.
You got Dexter Lawrence, who got praised because he was a nose guard, pushing the pocket the way he did.
was.
Rushing the
Nose
pass.
guards are not supposed to be getting 9 sacks.
Yeah.
But because he was so dominant, they found a way to put him one-on-one with centers, who we as defensive linemen believe are the worst blockers on the field. That's why they're surrounded by everybody else.
Yep.
They're smart, but they're the worst blockers. So you put a Dexter Lawrence on him one-on-one, he's going to disrupt. But that don't mean you got 3 pass rushers and 1 run stopper who can rush the passer.
Right.
You got that one guy, and then what? How are we stopping the run? If I can just hand the ball off all day and just keep handing the ball off and keep handing the ball off, that's just what I'm going to do. So it's great that they can rush the passer, but they were terrible against the run. What are my backers doing?
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, like,
Dexter Lawrence getting pushed out of there with 2 guys on him. Where's the backers at?
yeah,
Right now?
like if I got 2 people on me, that means I'm taking in blocking schemes. If I'm taking on 2, whether they bumping up to the backer or not, I got 2 people. If I'm holding up 2, you need to shoot your gun. If you're not shooting your gun, then what? Like, even Leave. If he got a crack replace or whatever, if he have to come field, everybody else is in their gap. If Leave got to come field, okay, then he's going to come field. If I'm taking on 2 people, that means one of these gaps is open.
Exactly.
What is everybody else doing? So, you know, and then if you go look at what he did 2 years ago with stopping the run, just him. He's doing his part. So you partner him with Jonathan Allen, then you drafted a first-round DN. Those 2 guys are going to do what Dallas is going to do for any end they bring in.
All right.
You got 2 D tackles that's going to make life easier for edge guys.
But
You bring in Tremaine, you bring in Edmonds. You know what I'm saying? That's a down. He's stopping linebacker.
I agree. But speaking of Dallas, week 2 last year at Jerry World, we hung 40 on Dexter Lawrence's defense. 40. It took overtime, but we scored 40 points. So we're just doing whatever we want.
You know, Dallas offense was doing that to everybody.
And to Gerald's point, like it doesn't matter how good your pass rush is if you can't cover on the back end, too.
Yeah.
Now offensively, I'm going in the game saying, I'm just going to frustrate all these guys. I'm going to get it out quick. I'm going to get it out quick. Then I'm going to go max protection and have 7 or 8 guys blocking and have 2-man routes that I know they can still win on. That's just, you have to be great up front. You have to be great in the middle. And you also have to be great on the back end.
Yeah.
And the Giants are still searching for that.
Okay. Well, at least, Kinsey, you can show Joe that you're trying. You know, you're trying to make it better, because even the year you went to the Super Bowl, you were ranked 17th in yards allowed. So you were average at best. And if you have another year on defense like you've had the last 3, Joe Burrow's going to demand a trade after next year, right?
I mean, they gave up 147 rushing yards per game.
Per game.
So it's like, that's the thing. It's the effort. This is not something the Bengals do. So them going out and doing that just at least is like, hey, Joe, we're all in. We're willing to make these moves. So that, because I would worry that he would request a trade next season. So I like that they're making moves. That's what I like.
Yeah. I agree.
All right. Well, I was actually, that's shocking to me. I was not expecting that conversation to go that way. So great news. But let's look at the other side of this trade, because I do think it was a win-win for both. But because now obviously the Giants are in rebuild mode, and now they have pick 5 and 10. So I want to look at your mock draft and see what we got moving here, and you can jump into that. So you have the Giants landing both Ohio State playmakers, right? You've got Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs. So, Hayden, I'm going to give it to you first. Kind of go in and what do you think the Giants are going to do with 5 and 10?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's the new Giants regime. So we got Harbaugh here. He's the entire offseason just, we got to stop the run. We got to get better in the trenches. You trade Dexter Lawrence because he didn't want to deal with Joe Shane. So I think the first thing is like the state of the Giants. It's pretty bad right now. Like they retained the GM, and now he didn't even want to negotiate with him. So I think just we have to take a step back and just reevaluate what the Giants are even doing. But Harbaugh's not going to have no bad defensive tackles and bad linebackers. There's just no way. So I think the biggest thing for mock drafts and just the regular draft, Sonny Styles, I think, is going to be a Giant. I mean, you can't go into the season with their state of the defense tackles and the linebackers. So I think that Sonny Styles is the top choice at number 5 if he gets there. And then at 10th overall, they're hoping that Caleb Downs is going to get there. I think that's going to be the harder part here, because I think a bunch of teams, including your Cowboys, Skip, could trade up ahead of the Giants. But I just think they're not going to walk out of here without at least somebody to stop the run and somebody in the trenches. That's just what Harbaugh's DNA is, and I think that's how the draft kind of lines up for him.
And Key, what do you think?
I like this. I think that's ideal. If the Giants can do that, they can get Sonny Styles at 5, Caleb Downs at 10. I think that put them in a good spot on defense. Man.
Yeah.
You partner Sonny Styles with Tremaine Edmonds in the middle. You partner Caleb Downs with Javon Holland on the back end. I think that clean up a lot of stuff. Them 4 good players right in the middle of your defense on second level, third level. They brought in Newsome, you know what I'm saying? Debo, he a good player, he's a starter. So Caleb Downs really cleaned up that secondary for you. So I think this is ideal. I don't know if it's gonna happen. I don't think Caleb Downs lasting to pick number 10. So
You don't?
I don't think he lasting. I think y'all coming to get him, Skip. I think Cowboys is gonna come get him.
Come get him in the top 10?
Why not? He the blue chip guy. It's blue chip to me is no flaws. It's almost I can't miss talent. That means Bain, I can't call you a blue chip because you got a flaw. You got the short arms. I can't call. But I mean, Caleb Downs is one of the blue chip guys.
Okay, is David Bailey blue chip?
Blue chip.
Okay.
He's one of the blue chip guys.
Well, that's
easier.
Yeah.
It's easier to find Sonny Styles than a Caleb Downs. Because of Sonny Styles, he's a freak athlete. He can run sideline to sideline, get downhill. But Caleb Downs, man, he clean up so much. You can blitz him. He can fill in the run. He can cover the whole field in the back end. It's so much that he can do.
He can do everything.
He do everything. And I just personally believe it's easier to find a Sonny Styles type player than a Caleb Downs. That's just a different.
If Caleb going at 10, I think they go wide out. They get the best wide out available. Whether that's Concepcion, I think Tyson gonna be gone, Tate gonna be gone. So I think it's gonna be Lemon and Concepcion gonna be left.
And see, Lee, I was thinking about it differently, depending on how they looking at it, because they just drafted their quarterback of the future last year.
Yep.
What if at 5 they say, okay, we know Caleb ain't getting the 10, but we need a defender. So with Harbaugh being the defensive-minded coach, we take Caleb Downs early because we know one of these wide receivers will be there at 10.
Yeah.
So we might not take 2 defenders because Sonny Styles, although he's a freak athlete or whatever, we can find a really good second-round, third-round linebacker to come in and play, okay? But Caleb Downs, those guys are hard to get. And like Lieb said, I don't believe he getting the 10.
Right.
So if we want to get our guy, we get Downs and still get a top wide receiver at 10 because there's going to be a wide receiver there. So I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but that's a way to think about it. If you don't go double defenders, we get Caleb first to make sure we get him before somebody grab him, and then we still can have another weapon for our young quarterback.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And that's what I said. If that happens, I love the scenario. If they can land both Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs, great. Whoever they take at 5, I still think Sonny Styles has a ton of value. I know he's kind of a guy that you can put in different spots and you can move him around, and you're saying Caleb Downs is a better overall player, but I think Sonny Styles is a can't-miss guy. I think he's going to be a dominant player in the NFL. But at 10, regardless of who they take, if they don't have Downs or Styles available at 10, I think they go wide receiver for a couple reasons. And who that's going to be, I'm with you. I think they're still going to have a pick between Mekhi Lemon. I know you said Tyson's going to be gone, but
Tyson's going to be out of there.
I think Tyson could potentially still be there at 10.
I think he's going to be gone, man.
Well, regardless of who they take, I think adding a receiver would be a great move for them for a couple reasons. First is you just invested a first-round pick in Jackson Dart last year. In fact, you traded up to go get him. If you're going to invest a first-round pick in a quarterback, you've got to invest in the pieces around him. Adding another talented wide receiver would do just that. The second thing is Matt Nagy is their new offensive coordinator. He runs a West Coast offense. You're going to see a ton of 11 personnel, which is 3 wide receiver sets. You have to have depth and talent at wide receiver to maximize that offense. You can't just have a bunch of guys. You've got to have multiple playmakers, which leads me to my third point. Is all of the great wide receivers, or almost all of the great wide receivers in the NFL, what do they have in common? They've got a really good number 2 or a 1B. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, CeeDee Lamb, and George Pickens, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. The list goes on and on. All these guys have a great supporting wide receiver around them to take some of those double teams off them and give them one-on-one opportunities. You just drafted Malik Neighbors in the first round a couple years ago. Add another premier playmaker opposite of him, help out your offense, and then maximize the potential that you can have under Matt Nagy and help your young quarterback in Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll say up front to all your points, I don't hate Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs. If you can pull that off, I don't hate it because it's conventional, it's cut and dried, it's inside the box. It's predictable thinking where you'd say yes and yes to restock the defense under a defensive-minded coach. Got that. But this is just me. If that GM is right in Adam Schefter's piece on ESPN.com this morning, not a great year to have a top 10 pick. If that's correct, you know what I would do? I'd go outside the box. This is just me, but I think this way. I would shoot the moon on this one. I would take 5 and 10, because I'm going to remind you, 2022, the Giants had 5 and 7, and it didn't turn out so well. Yeah. Thibodeau and Evan Neal, right? Okay, so I would take 5 and 10, and I think you're going to have to go to 3, because I think Jeremiah Love is going to go 3. I just think Arizona's sitting on him. Okay? And this is what I'd do. I'd take 5 and 10 and I'd go get Jeremiah Love because I'd say, I got the best player in the draft. I've got a guy who at his position, everybody believes is better than even Fernando Mendoza is at his position. Just if you're going, how great are you at your position? Even though quarterback's obviously a little more valuable than running back. But if I get that running back who can also play receiver for me and be an ultimate two-way playmaker at 2 positions, then I've got Jackson Dart and I got Malik Neighbors and I got Scatterboo to do the dirty work for me, to do the short yardage stuff and the goal line and all that. I got that. And I can pair him and Jeremiah Love. And now New York could go crazy over that. You'd own the city off that. Where all of a sudden, that's a move wherever it's a wow factor move that ignites your whole football team because you got the quote unquote best player in the draft. That's what I would do given where do I like Sonny? Yeah, I like him a lot. But you said, are you sure? You know, like is he a superstar difference maker? Are you sure about that?
I think he is a great player to draft at 5. I just wouldn't trade my first and second. I wouldn't trade up to come get him. That was my point. Yeah. I think he's gonna be a damn good starting interior linebacker. And if they did come up and get Love and their offense is solid, if you 31st in run defense again,
I got it.
then you're just not gonna be a good football team. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm trying to do. I can't be 31st in run defense. How can I fix that? Yeah. Draft them 2 motherfuckers right there. You won't be 31st in run defense with the pieces that you added already.
And they just gave up Dexter Lawrence. They just got rid of their...
It's getting worse.
Yeah, like that. You can't give up. I think at least one of those picks have to go to defense. I think you sit there and take Styles at 5 and then hope that you get Downs at 10. If you don't, then you address wide receiver. But I think giving up both those picks to go get a running back, who is, I think, the best player in this draft, is just not what the Giants need to do. In theory, it sounds great for a lot of teams, but you've got to look at it situationally, like what's best for them.
Okay, I don't
think that would be the best for them.
Okay, but is Jeremiah Love a life changer? Is he like that guy?
Did he change life for Notre Dame?
And Scadabo's pretty good. Like I think Scadabo's passes the test to me. I know he's coming off crazy injury.
I just don't know how long he's going to last playing like that.
But did he change life for Notre Dame?
He will for Arizona.
He ruined Trojan's life. I
mean, yeah, he did.
Both of the backs.
I'll tell you that. Both him and Price.
I'm not trading my 5 and 10 for him. No.
I mean, he didn't change life for Notre Dame. Did they go to the playoffs?
They should have, but they didn't.
But did they?
They did not.
Their life was not changed at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So I mean,
they went to the national championship the year before last.
But if you look at, I'm telling you, man.
Who was Indiana running back? Running back is that position, man. I don't need the best player. I just need the best line, the best defense, the best scheme, and my running back gonna eat. Like Scatterbo just fine. So I don't know. I don't need the best running back in the league.
That Caleb Downs, I'm telling you, look at what they got to face. They got to face what they got in Dallas. Then they got to face. We don't know what's going to happen with Philly, but we know even if, let's say.
Saquon going to be back there.
That's what I'm saying. Let's say, they do trade one of the wide receivers. They still got a guy that can take the top off the defense. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like Washington got a guy that can take the top off the defense. Like these are things you got to think about when you draft it. Adding a running back that high, nah.
Follow Philly. Good. Follow what Philly do. Philly, they go out and they shop with Georgia. This is a damn good school. Give us all y'all dogs, right? Hey, John, do what they do. It's Ohio State. They got a dog-ass defense. Give me all them guys. I'm trying to get as many guys off Ohio State defense as I can.
We got the New York Buckeyes.
You feel me? The New York Buckeyes, man. Let's do it.
All right, okay. Another thing I want to talk to you, Hayden, about is because you've stood firm now on Arvell Reese going to the Jets over David Bailey. And on this couch, that's an unpopular opinion.
It is.
Right? So I want you to defend that pick. Why do you have Arvell Reese going over David Bailey?
Well, I was going to say, you guys gave me a hard time on this, went back, watched both of them, and I'm doubling down on it. I think that Arvell Reese is just a total playmaker in both ways. I think he could eventually be an edge rusher, but I think I would just copy what Matt Patricia did, which was walk him up to the line of scrimmage. He can set the edge. He's got crazy powerful hands. He can obviously be a blitzer. He was a spy. He was a chase down guy in screens. There's one play against Michigan where he's just mirroring the linebacker out in space so he can move laterally. And he's got the right size, 4.46 in the 40-yard dash. And I just think he's a better fit for the Jets where he can learn from Demario Davis for a year. He doesn't have to be the green dot. Can line up right next to him. Their other backer's only 215 pounds. They can't stop the run. He's going to be able to do that. And then I think he's going to be the next Zach Bond. I was looking at Zach Bond, what a huge impact he has. He was an edge rusher turned off-ball linebacker. He's just doing the same thing, except he's like 15 pounds heavier. He's way faster than he is, and he's only 20 years old. So to me, I just look at Arvell Reese as like the can't-miss guy in either one of the spots. I would keep him at off-ball linebacker, walk him up. If you're in dime, he's going to be out the line of scrimmage anyways. You can just do so much with him. I don't think it takes that much imagination for just like download what Ohio State did and do the same exact thing. So I like David Bailey. He's obviously got that crazy burst, but you already got Will McDonald there. The linebacker spot long-term for the Jets is just totally bleak. And if Arvell Reese needs to be on the line of scrimmage from a year from now, if he's going to be at 255 pounds instead of 243, I'm cool with that. I just think that he's just the guy in this class. And you watch like the Penn State game, just like blowing everybody up. So he's fast and physical. I think he's going to be the best linebacker in the NFL here.
So you think he is the best off-ball linebacker in the draft?
I think so. I think that the difference between him and Sonny's probably a little bit closer to being like the coverage guy, but Arvell Reese's physicality is just like so impressive that I think you can have more tape. You definitely can. So I think Sonny Styles is not like he's not physical, but just Arvell Reese just hammers dudes over and over again. So I think that they should take him. I think that they will take him, and I think that the phone call is going to be coming for number 3 with the Arizona Cardinals for David Bailey. And I think that the Jets are already pretty much told Arvell Reese that he's going to be the pick.
Yeah, once I seen them cancel that visit.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's huge to me. That kind of told me that they was going to go Reese. But, I mean, I think he'd be a good player. I don't know about off-the-ball linebacker. How I see Ohio State use him, he almost looked like how they use Parsons to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? They line him up in the middle and let him rush right there. Line him up. But I think it's more on the line of scrimmage. I don't really like him dropping and covering. I don't really see that in him. I see just downhill disruption. You know what I'm saying? But I think you could be a damn good Michael Parsons if they did draft him. So I think you can't go wrong. But if it's me, I'm going with the guy who been playing this position The position got a name. It ain't like a joker or, you know what I'm saying? The position got a name. It's called the edge. And you've been playing it since high school, and you've been dominating that shit, getting better and better every year. And that's just a safe pick to me. That's who I'm going to go with. And, man, I know McDonald on the other side, but if you got 2 dog-ass edges, you look at the teams who got 2 dog-ass edges. They turn out to be the best defenders and defenses in the league. So
I want them chains on
feel
the
me?
little
That's what I'm
statue.
saying. So I played with one with 2 dog-ass edges, so I know how I go. But I think both of them going to be good players, man, but go with the for sure. The for sure. Not saying Reese ain't for sure, but if we still saying if he going to be this next year, and you just said it, Hayden, is he might could be on the edge next year, off the ball this year, and like, that's just not for sure. You know what I'm saying?
I think the off ball's for sure though. Like I just see somebody that's just like the modern NFL where they're moving everybody around, walking guys up. Like he was already doing that. I think we're just looking at Matt Patricia's defense. Like just watch exactly what they did. This isn't like just some Big 12 defensive coordinators doing something all crazy. This is a 3-time Super Bowl winning DC.
And I hear what you're saying. And what you're saying is very valid. But what you have to understand about the NFL is guys who are doing that, they've already been good at doing one thing first. They've been good, like Derwin James. He moving around, but he was a safety first. He showed I can be an all-pro safety. Now we can move him around because we know if we need him to just do this, he can do this. But now we can put him here, we can put him there. Arvell Reese, although talented, although really good, what is he so far? We don't know if he can just stand here and be an off-ball backer. He can read, this guy pulled, he can call this out, this and this. I get down here, I can do this. Is he a guy that stands at the line like Lee said, kind of how Michael Parsons did at Penn State? We put him here, let him blitz, beat the guard one-on-one, or then we put him here, let him blitz or this, and we don't know. But David Bailey, we know exactly what he is.
Right.
He gonna put his hand in that dirt and he gonna go. That's what we needed too. We don't need a maybe or, man, the potential of him being, is just too risky at 2. So I'm going to go, I agree with Lee, I'm going to get the guy that I know this is what he does well. And I know for sure he can do this. I don't have to wonder if I got to move him here or move. You're going to play that side or you're going to play that side. You ain't wearing no gloves. You're going to go out there and you're going to ball. That's it. That's what I need.
No wristband,
no nothing.
sleeves,
Nothing.
The scheme got a lot to do with it too, because like, all right, Minnesota, they walk up them linebackers, right? Mm-hmm. Who are they linebackers? Who are they?
Yeah, it's nobody's right now.
That's what I'm saying. It's not, are they defense good? They top 5. They all good. Damn good.
Always good.
The Broncos, they walk up linebackers. We walk up, run a scheme. It's the D coordinator get to do all the mixing when you walk them linebackers up. Who are linebackers? Stranad is single. Like I know who they is, but the general population, they probably don't know our linebackers. And we the best defense in the league. That's what I'm saying. So the defense,
the second best.
Well, you know, Skip. You know, we can go there. Yeah. But my point is, man, when you run that style of defense, a lot more teams gonna start running that defense because it's hard to figure out who coming, who going, and that's the defensive coordinator putting his imprint on it.
Right. That's
Vance Joseph and B Flo putting their imprint on the game. Like I could mix up your protection without having a star at linebacker. So they still could, if the Jets want to run that defense with a dog-ass edge. But I don't need to know who your name. You don't need name brand linebackers to run that defense. You know
what you do know is who's the guy at corner? Pat Surtain.
Exactly.
Who's the guy at D tackle? We
exactly.
know Bo Allen. We know them.
Because you gonna run a lot of man.
We gonna do all this stuff, but them guys we need to be specialists. This is what I need Bo Allen doing. He's doing it. This is what I need Pat Surtain doing it. He's doing it. This is what Nick Bonito.
They have. They got the little freshman.
That's what I'm saying. Nick Bonito. He and he getting busy. This is what we need. And all the rest of that we can, like Arvell Reese, man, I'm telling you, when he said, what really just kind of did it for me is when he said, shoot, I wasn't really even getting coached at edge. I kind of was just making it up. I can't take that at 2. I can't because
he's still working. I think
adding some salt.
But I think it says like he was still working. He didn't even know what he was doing. That's how physically gifted he is.
Yeah, but David
he is a
Bailey,
dog, though.
I'm telling you, Arvell Reese is a dog, but it's too. I don't know. I don't know. But David Bailey.
Question mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really like Arvell Reese. I think he's going to be a phenomenal player at the next level. But I'm with these guys. The biggest question is where exactly is he going to play? Because if you look at the numbers, he played 327 snaps as an edge defender. He played 286 snaps as a linebacker in the box. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing to be a positionless player like Reese is, because now you have versatility. Defensive coordinators can use you in a multitude of ways. You can stay on the field for multiple different personnel groupings. But if you look at who has a number 2 overall pick, the New York Jets, that's not what they need right now. What they need right now is a dominant pass rusher. They had 26 sacks last year, which was 31st in the NFL. They only had one guy on their roster that had more than 5 sacks. They need to address that pass rush issue, because you can't have a dominant defense without a dominant pass rush. Without a dominant pass rush, you have to get pressure on the quarterback. You have to get him flustered. You have to force offensive coordinators to focus on these guys on the edge with chips and quick game, and that internal clock as a quarterback has to speed up. If you don't have those guys, we can do a lot more things on the offensive side of the ball. David Bailey fits that profile perfectly. He's the best pass rusher in this class. He has power, he has speed, he has a lot of different tools in his toolbox. I love his get off, too. He puts so much pressure on an offensive tackle very quickly, doesn't allow them to get their hands on him, and he also has the production to back it up. 14.5 sacks, which led the country last year in college, and he's also second in tackles for loss, so he can do it both in the pass game and in the run game. Because of those factors, as much as I like Reese, I still think the Jets would be better off taking David Bailey at number 2.
They had 26 sacks.
26 sacks.
Miles Garrett had 23.
Yeah, that was 31st. 31st.
Broncos had 60-something.
I don't want to pile on poor Hayden over here.
Bring it. This is why I come up here. You only I can take it. Here we go.
Standing on your 10, Hayden. I love it.
Look, Arvell Reese probably has the highest upside, as they say. You know, like the sky's the limit with all that ability that you talk about. But man, at number 2, I don't want to draft a joker, a robber, monster, spy. I saw him, however you want to, whatever. Yeah, whatever.
Star.
Yeah, one of those. Everybody's got a different name, nickname for those. He's a rover.
Which he could still be a dog doing that, too.
He can.
Okay, I got it. I got it.
I get where you're going.
But to your point, he didn't put his hand in the dirt and do that. I think he can, to your point. He could. But it's all you think. Do you know? The other guy I know, because every time I turned Texas Tech on television, 31 jumped off my screen with the change, his ability to change direction and bend and explode. And he plays with extreme suddenness and power. I see a pass rush package that doesn't grow on Southern California palm trees out here, and he's right out of modern day down in Orange County, obviously. And if you look at his track record, everybody wanted him coming out of high school. Everybody, all the top programs, Alabama, Oklahoma, USC, they all wanted him coming out because he could do that in high school. And then he did that for 3 years at Stanford, and then he did that at the highest level at Texas Tech. Known commodity, difference maker, life changer. You can't risk at number 2 that when to your point, you can't sack anybody.
Yeah.
You got to start over with the difference maker, and I think a lot of people are going to try to go up to get him if you don't take him.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Everyone's calling. Everyone's calling. I think the Chiefs are going to be calling. I think there's already reports that the Cardinals and Chiefs are already in discussions for a trade. I think that would make a lot of sense for both parties.
Okay.
Well, and that's why.
See, if the Chiefs went and got him.
Yeah, don't let the Chiefs go get him. But
Like that.
that's why.
Because Joe Cullen is there. I'm telling you, he the coach that could.
Yeah. But that's why edge defenders are getting paid so much money right now, because of their value and because of what they can do to an offense. I mean, if you have a dominant pass rusher on the edge, that can take care of multiple deficiencies on the defensive side of the ball. The Jets didn't have one interception last year. They struggled to cover in the back end, but that's because the quarterbacks had time to throw. They weren't forcing them to get the ball out of their hands. If you add a guy like David Bailey, he immediately makes your team better, and he can improve an area that they desperately need to improve upon.
So all the guys kind of teamed up to get on you, but
Once again,
but you're standing firm, so we're going to see what happens. But another question I have for you. So last week we talked a lot about the Cowboys trading up. Many mock drafts had the Cowboys making that decision to trade up. You have them standing tall at 12 and shooting for Rueben Bain Jr. So, Skip, I would like to know, would you be okay with them staying at 12 and going for Rueben Bain?
So I told you, what is this, Monday, Friday?
Yep.
I told you I got a 3-pronged approach. If they trade up, the first order of business is try to trade up for Myles Garrett. If Cleveland would take 12 and 20, and maybe they got 3 fifth-round picks. Give them all 3.
Give him everything.
Yeah, give him whatever it takes. Go get Myles Garrett, and let's start over on defense with that. He's coming home. He went to high school in the shadow of Jerry World. He is going on 31 years of age, but you could have 3 first-team All-Pro years left. So that's number one. Number two is you monitor the David Bailey saga here at the top, and you see if he does pass, if they do take Arvell Reese, can you go to 3, and you try to trade up with 12 and 20 and whatever it takes to go get David Bailey. But my fail-safe, I told you, if they just can sit still, if they have to sit still, excuse me, at 12 and 20, if Rueben Bain falls to 12, I'm happy. I'm happy.
100%.
Like, that's another one where I don't watch coaches' tape. I just watch a lot of television, and every time I turn their games on, he jumped off my screen because he is a productive college football player. And I'm hoping that the crash incident that came out of nowhere that a lot of teams were probably already aware of, I'm hoping that might drop his stock a touch, and then the short arms would drop it a touch more. And you did say that you've talked to some coaches who don't love it, right? They don't love it. But I just love productivity, and I love his base because he's got low leverage to me, and it looks like he can set the edge. He just looks like he was a grown man on the edge where you couldn't run on him, and he could come and get your quarterback. So would I take it at 12 and then get my DB at 20? Yes, I would be happy with that. I would be much happier with Myles Garrett or David Bailey, but still, thank you for at least suggesting that was a possibility.
Yeah.
I think what would help them would be if the Cardinals did go up for Bailey, because I think the Cardinals want an offensive tackle and then Ty Simpson or something like that. And I think that's how you can get Rueben Bain to fall. If the Rueben Bain's there for the Chiefs at 9, I think that would be pretty bad. But I think that Rueben Bain's even better than David Bailey. Like, I don't know why Rueben Bain's all of a sudden outside of the top couple picks here. I think you mentioned it. His ability to just like dip under and like use like the short arms.
He's got low leverage.
He just got low leverage, lots of power, but he doesn't like bull rushing power. He's like, it's hard to move him because he's so dense. And I think that his pass rush moves, swipes, chops, all that type of stuff was really, really high level. I thought that his run defense versus Bailey is like night and day. I think that's the one thing about the Jets. You got McDonald and then David Bailey as your top edge rushers, and all of a sudden like you're just gonna get run on because neither one of these guys are plus run defenders. So I hope they get Rueben Bain at 12. I'm not sure if they're actually going to be able to do that, but that's why mock drafts exist.
Why are you dropping? Because of the arms and the incident?
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of buzz that he's probably starting between like maybe the Saints, but then it's the Saints are linked to all these receivers. It's the Chiefs would be the one, I think, but then Delane is going to be there, Downs is going to be there. So one of these guys are going to fall. We always talk about this, like there's probably 12 guys we keep saying, like there's no way they're getting outside the top 10, but every single year somebody's kind of falling out of there. So it's pretty hard to tell which one's going to be, but I think we're overthinking what Rueben Bain brings to the table because of the short arms. I think he doesn't really use his he doesn't use his arms in a pass rush way that would make me think that it's going to be a huge problem. He doesn't.
So you would concur at 12 he would be a steal.
Yeah, that'd be the best pick of round 1.
Yeah. Okay.
At 12?
I'll take that.
Heck yeah. Yeah, y'all already said it. You said it. This is not one of them drafts where you trade up and go. You know what I'm saying? Like this is just not one of those drafts. So if I'm at 12 and I can get Rueben Bain, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And you can get another DB at 20.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I'm sitting right here taking him, get another guy, I'm good to go. And he BT Jordan, who just started coaching at Dallas, he been coaching Rueben Bain. So he already been working with him. So if he was to end up in Dallas, he already been working with the coach that he would be working with. That's who been getting him ready for the draft. You see the highlights online of him running the bags and stuff. That's BT Jordan he working with. And he just signed a coach with Dallas. So he would be partnered with another pass rush coach. It would be perfect for Dallas, for me. You know. So I like it.
I love it. I think he is gonna drop to outside of 7, 8, and whoever get him is getting a steal because I think he only gonna drop because the arm length. And it's because you want them top picks to be them blue chips, man. The blue chips got to check all the boxes. Yeah. My size, my tape, my combine. If you perfect in all of them, I feel like you get labeled as a blue chip. He don't check one of the boxes. It's like he don't got that ideal arm length. Is it going? affect him in the league. That's the only thing that's making him not a blue chip guy. So if you get him at 10, 11, man, that's a steal. So the arm lift didn't hurt him in college. Shit, I don't think it's gonna hurt him in the league. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, man. I think Dallas sit there at 12. If they fall into a guy like Rueben Bain, they get a steal, man.
Yeah, but sitting still is not Jerry's strong suit, especially when the world expects him to trade. So it would have to happen by accident where Jerry tried to trade up and it just didn't click and connect. Yeah. And he got stuck at 12 and all of a sudden he said, oh my God, we just, look who fell into our lap.
So if the Cowboys can stay at 12 and get Rueben Bain while also keeping their other first-round pick, I think they could potentially win on Thursday night. That would be the best or the best outcome for them. And then that also gives you options with that 20th overall pick because now you can address the cornerback position. I think there'll be some guys that are still available there. Yeah. Colton Hood, Terrell, Cisse, Chris Johnson. Yeah. I think Jermod McCoy will most likely be gone, but there's still a lot of talented corners that you could get at that number 20th spot. Or if the guy you don't love is at 20, you still have the option to trade back into the draft and add some more draft capital so that you can address other positional needs on the defensive side of the ball. But to what you said, Skip, I'm still not fully out on what we talked about last week. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys make a move and trade up in this draft. If there's a guy they think defensively, like a Caleb Downs, like a Sonny Styles, that they think could change their franchise that won't be available at 12, then I say make the move, go up and go get him. Because now you would have to give up your 12th and your 20th pick, but then you would add a day one starter with a top 6 or 7 pick, and then you most likely would get a early second-round pick in return from the team that you traded with. And last week I talked about this. In this draft class, the value from number 20 to 35 to 40 is not much different. I think you can still get a very good player at 35 to 40 that could be a day one starter giving up your 20th overall pick. So I think the Cowboys have options. It's just going to – and they have a lot of power in this draft, too, with those 2 first-round picks. But it's going to come down to if Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones can capitalize on this opportunity and make the right decisions for the Cowboys.
All right, there we have it. Well, let's move on then. So last time you were here, let's talk about the quarterback situation because we know there's not a lot going on in round 1. But last time you were here, you did not have Ty Simpson going in round 1, but things have changed, right? So in this scenario that you have above, you have the Cardinals trade back up into the first round to take Alabama quarterback. And then, so I just want to know, what was your thought process on this? Obviously, you changed it. Your opinion wasn't that they were going to take him. Now it is. What was your...
Yeah, I don't think they should take him. It's just everything that I read about the Cardinals is that the owner is involved now. And I think that's why we're hearing the Jeremiah Love stuff because that's going to help sell tickets. And I think Ty Simpson would help them sell tickets for the next couple of years as well. So that's why I think, I mean, I'm not the one buying these tickets. They just, right now it's Gardner Minshew and Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett wants a new contract probably because he has heard that they want Ty Simpson. It's like now or never. So that's why I keep going back to the Chiefs being the team possibly trading up to 3 because you can get the 29th pick overall, which is pretty much what I have right here, and then you're getting Ty Simpson. Right now, the Cardinals' big problem, though, is in the second round, they sit right behind the Jets, and the Jets, in theory, could draft Ty Simpson, too. So I would not be surprised if the Cardinals feel more pressure, and I think it's going to come from ownership, not the best ownership group, and make this thing happen. I think we all agree that Ty Simpson's more of a round 2 or round 3 guy to us, but everything that I'm reading is that the Cardinals actually like him, so that's what I'm going with.
So you don't think it's a good move, but you think that's what will happen? Okay.
Yeah, you think they're going to do it because they're worried about the Jets early in the second round taking them. They're going to panic and try to jump up.
Yes, and I think that they probably like David Bailey or Arvell Reese, but I think in a perfect world, you trade down, you get one of the right tackles because they don't have a right tackle right now, Fanu, Mawanoa, or one of the other guys, and then you go with Ty Simpson later on. I mean, that's probably how they're thinking. Like, would you rather have David Bailey or would you rather do right tackle quarterback? So I think that's like the hard part with the Arizona Cardinals right now.
With the quarterback class 2027, I don't think no team is going to reach, no quarterback needy team, Cardinals, Jets. I don't think they're going to reach and trade some picks to come get a quarterback in this draft because it's just not a quarterback draft. Yep. I think honestly, the Jets ain't even trying to win no games this year. They trying to do this. Let's get our team ready for this whatever quarterback we going to get next year. You know what I'm saying? Probably the same with the Cardinals. They getting their team ready for whatever quarterback they're trying to go get out of that quarterback-heavy draft class of next year. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think nobody going, if I got a second-round pick, I need that second-round pick. That could be a guy for me. I don't like none of the quarterback needy teams to trade back in the first round and give up my second and to do all that for Ty. He just ain't really do it for me. You know what I'm saying? He ain't get Alabama. Them good quarterbacks at Alabama, they get Alabama over the top. He ain't really get them over the top, man. You 500 in your big games. That's the Indianas and the OUs.
He had like 100 yards in the Rose Bowl. It's
bad.
It was bad.
Like,
Less.
it just don't jump.
But it might have been less. It was 67, yeah.
60-something yards.
Yeah.
LSU
Right.
game, Auburn, you look at all his big games, he 500 or below 500 in those games, man. So, I don't know. It ain't do it for me. I don't see a team trading back up in the first round to get him with the quarterback class that's coming next year.
I agree, first off. But I'm going to say this again. Jeremiah Love at 3, that you bolster your offense. If you going to do that, you get Jeremiah Love at 3. That's the only reason you do something like this. You still got, I've been saying you can get Juwan Taylor at right tackle. You can go get him, just sign him. He got released by the Chiefs. He's been released by multiple teams. You go get him. You ain't got to overpay him. Then you could get a right tackle. Jeremiah Love at 3, if you're going to do this. Because if you look at where he would sit right now or where they sit regardless, if he's there or if he's not there, you got the 4th best team in the division. You got the 4th best starting quarterback in the division. You got to try and keep up offensively. So why not go get Jeremiah Love if you're going to do this? I don't know why they would go do this.
He's not better than Brissett.
He not, I mean, like, you're not. If you do this and miss, you just set your organization back even further than they already set back. So that's not Ty Simpson. That's not the move. Like
he gonna go in the middle of the second or third round.
And Cody, can you answer this? What are the other quarterback people saying? What are they seeing where they're feeling like can be a guy or that he's better than Mendoza?
They just got the same agent and shit as him. They just
because I'm just like, what? I'm like, what are y'all talking about?
I'll say this.
Throws
I'll say this, and I haven't got a chance to really talk about Ty Simpson on the show. The reason I think there's no true consensus right now with Ty Simpson when you talk to everybody and why no one really knows where he's going to go in this draft is because I think there's a pretty significant gap between how high his ceiling can be and how low his floor can be when he gets in the NFL, and no one really knows what direction he's going to get or what direction he's going to go when he gets in the NFL, because when you watch the tape, there are a lot of things that I really like, but there's also a lot of things that are a cause for concern. But I'll start with the positives. I think he's got a solid arm and a quick release. He's got a repeatable motion that helps him with his accuracy. He doesn't have the strongest arm in the world, but it is strong enough to make every throw that you need him to make on the field. I think he's really good short to intermediate. I think he could work on some of his deeper throws down the field. The other thing that he does really good job of is processing a defense. I think his read pre-snap and post-snap, he processes at a high level. He knows where to go with the football majority of the time, and he also knows how to move around in the pocket. He doesn't panic when there's pressure in his face. He doesn't panic when there's a free rusher. He can slide over, step up, keep a strong base, and deliver an accurate throw. He's also more athletic, I think, than people give him credit for. He's not going to come out and be a dual-threat guy, but he can run around, he can throw on the run, he can take off and pick up a 3rd and 5 with his legs if he needs to. But the thing that really makes him an NFL caliber quarterback are two things. One is the way that he can identify a defense with his calls, with his protection calls, meaning they asked a lot of them at Alabama where he's going to ID the mic, and then I can re-ID the protection to put myself in the best position so I know I'm good to go, and then I'm also going to react to some of the hots as well. And he also does a good job of going through progression. If 1 and 2 isn't there, he doesn't panic. He'll reset and get back to his backside reads. Not a lot of guys in college can do that. They go from 1 to 2 to take off and run and try to improvise. He can go through progressions. But when you look at some of the negative things, and I think that are worrisome about Ty Simpson, the first is I think there's too many times on tape where he tries to do too much. I've always said this, where you need to know the difference of when it's time to be Superman and make the big-time play, but also when it's time to be Clark Kent, check it down, throw it away, and move on. Now, Alabama was 125th in rushing offense last year, so it felt like Simpson had to do it all himself. So I think a lot of that was him trying to force some things, but you still got to protect the football. But the biggest concern with Ty Simpson is the lack of experience, because he only has 15 starts in his career, and he only has 1 full year of being a starting quarterback. NFL teams want to see what that jump looks like from 1 year to the next. They don't have that information with Ty Simpson. They want to know if you can go in the offseason and self-scout and take that step forward, or if you're going to make the same mistakes year after year. That's why it's such a risk involved with Ty Simpson. So because of that, even though there is a lot of upside, I'm with you guys. I think he's better fit as a day 2 pick, probably a 2nd-round quarterback, Not to say he won't be successful. There's a lot of guys that aren't drafted in the first round as quarterbacks. They go to a great situation and are successful. But I think right now Ty Simpson, in my opinion, will be a second-round pick.
Easy.
Okay. So the harder I look at Ty Simpson, the less I like what I see, because the arm is average at best, and the height is a big question to me because he's given 6'1", and Baker's 6'1", but Baker has it. He's got sizzle, charisma, sneaky escapability, and athletic ability that I don't see in Ty Simpson.
Agreed.
And speaking of processing, I got to get this off my chest because I saw this story last night. And I just want to read these quotes because I lost some respect for Ty Simpson's ability to process from what he said on the podcast featuring Caleb and Josh Downs. He played with Caleb when Caleb was at Alabama. Ty did. So he's on their podcast, and he's talking about the Indiana game in which he was a disaster, obviously. It was 38-3, and he threw for 67 yards. And he says on the podcast about Indiana's defense, they do the same thing every down. So when I got the ball, I knew exactly what was going to happen. They just didn't mess up, bro. They were in the exact same spot they were supposed to be. They were so well coached, which prompted the defensive coordinator of the Indiana Hoosiers named Bryant Haynes, who won the Broyles Award as the top assistant coach in college football last year. He fired back on social media. We also saw everything they were going to do on every single snap. It's just that we exploited those cues. Okay, so to me, his stock falls a little bit. He's trying to build in an excuse. He said, of course, I got hurt in the game. I thought he got yanked. It sure looked like he got yanked in the game to me, but he said he had a rib, like a bruised rib, and they pulled him out. I don't know. But they couldn't run the ball. They had 17 carries for 23 yards. And to me, if you know exactly what they're going to do on defense, you got to take some advantage of that, and he took no advantage. Right? Okay. You're actually condemning yourself and your performance with that. So that's just me, and that sort of closed the deal for me. If you want to take him in the third round and as a developmental case, that's fine. But again, if you're thinking about him as an eminent starter, like he could start for you maybe next year, like in 2 years, to me, if you don't like a quarterback enough to take him high in the draft, don't take him.
Well, and that's the thing that bothers me. I feel like so many GMs feel like we need a quarterback, so let's just take the next best available quarterback. You don't have to do that because Gerald's point, if you make the wrong decision at quarterback, especially in the first round, you could set your franchise back for at minimum 5 years. And now you're in a terrible position, and you're right back drafting a quarterback again in the next couple of years, and you're not addressing other needs that you have on your team. And I hear you, Skip. I think to that point what he was saying was more of a testament to Indiana, not necessarily a knock on himself. He was just giving them credit.
He made a mistake and knocked himself.
But to Indiana's point, Alabama couldn't run the football. They were 125th in rushing. Obviously, they knew what they were going to do. We got to stop Ty Simpson in this pass game, stop Bernard, stop Williams, and we win this game. And that's exactly what they did. They got pressure on him. They got him flustered. And I'm with you. I thought he looked great early on in the season. When the games got bigger towards the end, obviously he had an injury.
Well, there's 4 in a row. If you look hard at Auburn, Georgia in the SEC game, at OU, and then the disaster.
But those are the games. That's why I say he's a second-round pick. When you get in there, every time I walked in to meet with the team when I was going through the draft process, the first thing they'd say is, give me your top 4 games, give me your worst 4 games, and we're going to watch those. And when your worst 4 games are against the better competition, the NFL-level players, that's a huge knock on you.
You 500 in those games.
And late in the season, I think part of the thing, we're going to go to 18 games, and then you got the playoffs. Like, how is he even going to survive? We have 1 season, and he barely made it all the way through.
Yeah.
He's tiny.
And Cody, to your point, man, do you know how fortunate the 49ers are to have Brock Purdy on that roster?
100%.
For what they did with Trey Lance?
Because that erases that mistake.
That erases that. Do you know how fortunate they got having Brock Purdy there?
Yeah.
Because if Brock Purdy wasn't there, the 49ers would have been, man, listen, he just so happened to be good enough and in the right system that, Brock Purdy, he's balling, but, man, you make a mistake, it set everything back.
And I'm throwing myself in the pot, but we see it in Cleveland. Hopefully Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, one of those guys is the answer. But you've seen it in Cleveland for a long time. If you don't nail the quarterback position, I thought they did with Baker Mayfield. I thought they made a big mistake letting him leave after he won a playoff game for the first time in 26 years. But if you don't nail the quarterback position, it doesn't matter how good the rest of your roster is.
Right.
Defensively, you can make up for some of the deficiencies, but at some point in time, we're going to have to put the ball in your hands at quarterback, and you got to go deliver. And if you don't have a guy that can do that, at least at a serviceable level, you're not going to win games.
It's not often that you guys agree, but you guys are agreeing. You guys are out on Ty Simpson, so we'll find out what happens there. But this show is presented by Kickoff. If your tax refund just hit, before you spend all of it, take a small piece and do something smart. Use it on start building your credit. If you need to boost your credit fast, Kickoff can help. They're the #1 credit building app in the App Store with plans starting at just $5 a month. No credit check, no hidden fees, and there's 0 interest. So I like Kickoff because you're building credit and it's not confusing. Kickoff makes it simple. You just make small payments on time and that positive history gets reported. That's how you start seeing real progress. It's so easy. Sign up in minutes, set auto pay, and even get credit for rent you're already paying. Start building credit with Kickoff today and get your first month for as little as $1. That's 80% off when you go to kickoff.com/arena-gridiron. That's kickoff.com/gridiron. There's no arena, just gridiron. So you must sign up at kickoff.com/gridiron to get an activated offer. Offer applies to new Kickoff customers for first month only. It's subject to approval. Offer subject to change. Average first-year credit score impact of plus 86 points between the August 2024 and August 2025 for Kickoff credit account users who started with a score below 600, who paid on time, and who had no delinquencies or collections added to their credit profile during the period. Late payments may negatively impact your credit score. Individually, results may vary. So now I want to get into the wide receiver conversation because this is who you selected in round 1. This is your mock right here. So this is an interesting situation. We've talked about the wide receivers in this draft quite a bit.
A lot.
But something that is very different on your list is you have Casey Concepcion going above Jordan Tyson, McCoy Lemon. Very, very interesting. Okay? So I would love to know. Actually, I'm going to first start with Cody. We'll go with Cody first. What is your reaction to him having Concepcion going to the Rams?
Yeah, I think Concepcion.
By the way, you brought him up the other day.
I did.
You did.
Yeah.
And I'm about to talk about why I like him so much. Because
before we let Hayden
he's a good player.
know.
Me and Hayden were talking about this before the show, but I really like him a lot. I think he's a talented player, and he's absolutely a first-round pick. I still think Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, and McCoy Lemon are the big 3 in this draft. I think those will be the first 3 guys taken. But like I said, I still think Casey Concepcion will be a first-round pick. And the more I watch this tape, and I watched a lot of it yesterday, the more I'm really starting to like him because he's a talented football player. He is such an efficient route runner, man. He creates separation versus press man. If you're a DB, good luck trying to get hands on him. His quickness and his burst at the beginning of his route is so efficient, and there's really no wasted movements when he's getting in and out of his breaks. Another thing that I think he does a really good job of, and Aqib, I mean, you could talk about this as well, is he closes that cushion between a DB and a receiver so quickly, meaning that he gets a DB to get out of their back pedal, turn their hips, and then he has suddenness when he's breaking off a comeback or a curl or a stop route. That's impossible to defend. The other thing that he does a great job of, and what makes me feel comfortable as a quarterback throwing him the football, is he knows how to attack leverage. There's a great clip against Notre Dame where he's running a dig route, which is an in route, and the DB has inside leverage. Well, normally that play's dead, and I'm not going to work that guy, but he starts outside, puts his outside foot in the ground, stems back inside. The next thing he does that's so important is he stacks and gets vertical because he understands depth and landmarks. He knows that I still have to be where the quarterback expects me to be. The top of the route breaks him off, runs an in cut, the DB falls down, doesn't get the ball, but it is impressive. And we can go look at the tape. Auburn, Notre Dame multiple times, time after time, where he attacks leverage and he gets open. And the other thing, too, to Hayden's point, why I think he might go a little bit higher than people think is his value. He's not just a receiver. He's efficient in the return game as well. You can use him in multiple different ways, and that's even on offense. Get him a crossing route. Get him a return route. But then I'll give him an end around in the run game. He's really good in the screen game, and then go have him return punts or kickoffs. So that raises his value a lot. Again, I still think Tate, Tyson, and Lemon are the top 3, but I get the argument for Concepcion going that high. I have Tate, Lemon, and Tyson.
I thought you had Lemon ahead of Tate. No?
No,
he
you
had
did.
Tate.
He had-
You did.
he had him at
You
second.
had
I had
him at
Tate
first.
1, Lemon 2, Tyson 3.
It ain't as crazy as it
No,
is.
it's not.
If you watch the
Especially with
tape,
the
it's
team.
not. It's
Crazy
not.
as it
It's
is.
really not.
I'm
And
a
I bet I
production-
know where you going to.
I look at production.
Yes.
I look at production.
Yeah.
This motherfucker got 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, scrimmage yards. 1,000 scrimmage yards, 10 touchdowns, 2 out of his 3 years.
Yeah.
That's big.
He was doing it at NC State.
Going ham at NC State. Then
Yeah.
the year he didn't score 10 touchdowns, he scored 8.
He did.
He leaving college 28 touchdowns. That's big. You got that kind of production. You 6 feet. It was 5'11" and 5'8". That's 6 feet.
So he's 196, like
That's what I'm saying.
He,
He a 6
he
foot guy.
plays little, but he's
But he
that's
big.
explosive.
Yeah. 6 foot, 200 pound guy.
Yeah.
What he bring you in a return game is crazy. And shit, the Rams, they lost games.
Yep.
Because of this damn returner. So if they can check
a good
2
point.
boxes, kill 2 birds, 1 stone.
Okay, but you don't love a slot receiver going to the Rams,
Yeah,
right?
He's not a slot, though.
I don't think he's just a slot receiver
You can
because
use him
with
outside.
the releases, with the speed and the twitch, he can get off press.
Okay, but he
can
doesn't
play
have.
outside.
There's not great top end speed here. It's all quickness.
You
It's
don't
all,
listen.
I think he can
man.
run.
I do too.
He's running
punt
kicks back.
Man,
That's
listen,
that's top end
you
speed
put
to me.
Sean, you put the when they picking returners, okay? You've been in these rooms, When they picking returners, they're picking playmakers that can make plays in space. That's what this kid is. And they are not picking anybody that's, they might not have 4.2, 4.3 speed. That don't always mean you're a good returner. But when he get in the open field, he's going. And you getting a Deshaun Jackson type guy without the speed, not the Deshaun Jackson speed, but give him an end around. Let him be a returner. Get him in space. All of that. And then with the Rams, with Sean McVay's mind, and you already got them 2 dogs on the outside, now you add him, I can draw it up, put him in different spots, put him in these mismatches where I can put him. That is not crazy. So don't be surprised.
Catch and run.
That's this.
Him throw a lot of quick screens,
his
over routes.
His
drag
playmaking
routes.
ability.
Telling you.
Put the ball, just get the ball in his hand
Catch
and
and
let
run.
him do his thing.
It's not just speed. He has the vision of a running
That's
back.
what it
Like,
is.
you see him on the punt return.
That's why he's a returner.
He'll set up a block, put his foot in the ground, and then cut. Like, he understands how to be efficient with the ball in his hands. It's not just pure athleticism.
Now, I don't think he's going to go before Jordan Tyson
Nah.
because Jordan Tyson ain't going. He ain't making out the top 10. But he going to go early. I can see him going 13 like that. I think Jordan Tyson go before 13.
It's not
Cardinal Tate
crazy.
go before 13. It's not crazy.
It's not
though.
crazy.
Would you
I
put,
tell you that,
would
it
you
ain't
put
crazy.
AC above McCoy?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Man,
I'm not on that yet.
I am.
I'm just not in love with Mekhi Lemon.
I
You know
am.
what I'm saying?
I'm putting him above
So
McCoy.
I might put
Yes.
him above him too. Just he.
Okay.
They both could return,
But I was about to say, they it's almost like you're comparing similar type of players.
right. But one of them
Similar
just
size.
6 feet,
McCoy's 5'11".
and one of them I feel like he
listen,
a little
I
more.
feel- I just-
he a little
when
more
I'm watching-
twitchy off
when
that
I
line.
watch-
Man, no.
Listen, I know you a SC guy, but when
What are you talking about?
when I put them next to each other and I'm watching the tape, man, I watch McCoy and it's like, yes, but I'm telling you, man, that KC, when you turn that tape on, it's just like it's a different feel
Would you
when
say
he
he
got
got
that.
more twitch than Mekhi Lemon?
I think so, but I think
Yeah.
McCoy he doesn't look fast. He's just smooth
It's-
and
it's
efficient
strong.
with his steps.
Yeah.
And he
Yep.
does contested
real, like-
catches at 5'11", 190. Reminds me a lot of an Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's
He
not
got strong
burner,
hands
but-
for sure.
Yeah,
He
man,
got
he can
strong-
take
he
the
makes
ball
some
away.
crazy
I guess it's different too because I watch McCoy a lot in person. So when you see it in person and you see him take away those catches and get hit while he's still making these tough, difficult plays, it
But
obviously raises his
if you're
value.
on the board and you putting your offense together, you like, all right, man, I'm gonna create and draw and put this. Which person are you putting in your offense? That where I can do
Between
that.
those two?
Yeah, when you can put that and you say, okay, I can do this with him, this. Who are you putting?
I think I still take McCoy Lemon over KC Concepcion.
That KC, man.
No, he's
the
good,
more I
man.
watched him, yeah, I like him.
I'm taking McCoy.
So Aqib thinks lemon is a lemon, as in a car that won't run, right? That's
solid,
what
but
the
he's just
hate
not-
coming
he's
from
just not
that
better than
side
those
over there.
three.
I feel extreme hate for Mekhi Lemon.
Talk about him a little
And
bit, Skip.
I still think he's the best. I'm going to say it again, and I think you're at least partially with me on this. Cardinal Tate's just a guy to me. I don't know. I think he's pretty good, but I ain't taking him 5th in the draft or 6th or 7th. I don't get that.
I agree.
He looks average to me. I don't see extreme separation. I don't see extreme quickness, extreme deep speed. He's playing opposite a kid who could go first in probably Arch will go first in the draft next year, but second in the draft next year. And Jeremiah Smith caught 81 balls to his 50 balls. And he benefited from playing opposite, and he's smooth, and his technique is it's good, and it's solid. He's just a solid football player, but I'm not taking solid in the top 10. I just don't see special when I would watch Carnell Tate, and I've been shocked that every mock has him in the top 10. And Jordan Tyson, I laughed this morning when I saw there are immaturity issues arising about Jordan Tyson. I'm thinking, yeah, but every wideout has immaturity issues, right? Don't they all? Yeah. Like they're just, they're built that way. They're all divas. The best ones are all divas.
Ted last year in the draft process say he don't watch film?
Yeah.
Ted was like, I ain't watch film, man. I just look at what he just did.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just
he still went high.
Listen, man, he a dog. He can play.
I know you love him, Jordan Tyson, because he came out of Allen High School, right near where you live. So I give you that. But he came out as the 131st ranked high school receiver coming to college. And Dion had him for a minute at Colorado and said no to him. And so he has to transfer to Arizona State. And then he put up monster numbers that first year, but he just kept on getting hurt. And you seem to just sweep that under your carpet. You know, you're okay with that. And my old partner Shannon Sharp used to say, you limp in, you limp out.
Right.
You know, you just, okay. And there's a lot of truth to that, where you got big injury issues operating there. I just watched TV, and I watched a whole lot of USC the last couple of years. And every time I turned on the TV, Mekhi Lemon just took over the game, where I'd say, that kid is a baller. He is electric. And every contested catch, it's his football. Mm-hmm. When it's up, and your quarterback is just saying, I don't care who's over. I'm just going to throw it to him, and he's just going to go get it. And 3rd and 5, it's like automatic. I'm going to throw it to him, and he's going. He might not win, but he's just going to win the football, right? He might not win the route. He's just going to win the football. And to me, he's even better than Amon-Ra. He was more productive.
Coming out.
Yes, coming out. Yeah. And I just love productivity.
You're saying as a prospect, right, Skip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think he will be better, and he will be more productive than Jordan Tyson, who doesn't have great top-end speed, but he's got a bag of tricks, and I've told you, I don't hate him like you hate Mekhi Lemon. It's just, but Jordan Tyson, you know, he's slick tricks, and he's got all the moves and underneath, but man, I don't know. It's like Mekhi Lemon just showed me again and again that as a pro football player, he is going to produce high numbers for you, where you can trust him and go to him. And he seemed to be pretty durable, because he plays, he will catch every kind of route you want to catch. Yep. And Carnell Tate didn't work underneath much at all. He's just the bonus receiver over here. He's just going to run deep routes because the attention is all focused over on that side of the field. So in the end, and I do like Casey Concepcion, and I've watched him a lot, and he is as sudden as you get, but it's more quickness than deep speed to me. His second level escapability is not great. And Mekhi Lemon just runs every route. And again, is he the fastest time guy? He just gets open.
Yeah.
And man, if I'm Sean McVay, that's who I want.
I think you're sleeping on Jordan Tyson.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat says healthy Jordan Tyson equals Jamar Chase. How do we feel?
Right, listen,
Man,
if he
didn't have
injuries, it wouldn't be close.
It wouldn't even be close.
And I hear you saying that, but that's always the if.
Right.
If he is a guy that's had these injury history, then now you have concern taking
So everybody who had
him in the top 10 or taking
everybody who's been injured in college went to the league and been hurt.
No, that's not
Everybody
true.
who's been healthy in college went to the league and never got hurt.
No, I'm just saying the risk factor goes up, because you said it yourself. If he wasn't injured, then he would be the first receiver taken. So you're acknowledging that injury history plays a factor in the decision.
But we're talking about when he is on the field.
Agreed.
That's
I'm not
what
arguing
we're talking
that.
about.
I'm not arguing that.
I'm telling you.
He can
when
go
he
take
is
for tape
on the
with
field,
anybody in this class. I agree with that. And he at 6'2", the way that he can move and his shiftiness
And you see,
underneath
and you
is
seen these
impressive.
last few videos that's coming out? The way he can contort his body and how explosive he is, and not, man.
I'm telling you. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
But you know what a big factor in all this is too is situation.
Yeah.
What offense are you in? Who's your quarterback? Are you the number one? Are you the number two? Are you the number three? So all that's going to play in factor. But yeah, the talent's all there. That's why I think Hayden. I mean, you'd probably agree. I think we could see probably 6 wide receivers going in the first round if you throw in Omar Cooper and Denzel Boston as well.
Yeah, I just think that Casey Concepcion versus Tyson, those two guys are pretty similar to me. I think what Cody said was the efficiency at the line of scrimmage. Both Tyson and Casey Concepcion, they got the jitterbug feet.
Yeah.
I just think that Tyson dances a lot more, and Casey Concepcion gets up the field instantaneously.
Right.
And I just think that he's more in tune with what the quarterback is. And then the second thing is Casey Concepcion, I was surprised he was 196 because he looks so small.
Yeah.
But there was a couple plays after the catch. He caught a ball like at the 8-yard line. There's like 3 defenders, throws all of them off of him for a touchdown. There's a lot more yak ability from Casey Concepcion. I thought there was too many times Jordan Tyson, like 3rd and 4 slides right before the first down marker. And I just couldn't piece that together. I think it might have gone back to when he dislocated his knee. And I see Casey Concepcion, when he catches the ball over the middle, he's flying up the field. I think that the punt returns, you guys haven't seen those against LSU. Those 2 punt returns that he has, those are like the magic moments. And that's why I linked him up with the Rams, because they can't catch the ball as a return. And that's what,
It was their downfall this season.
I think that's what I would go with. I haven't seen Tyson and Lemon have the same return ability that Casey Concepcion has. So I think that's where we come down to the 13th overall pick, outside and inside versatility plus special teams. To me, he's like the underrated fit, and I think because he has the knee injury, we didn't see the athletic testing. We just haven't heard from him. He's never in the top 3 discussion, but I think he easily could be the number 1 receiver in this draft class in a couple years.
So, Hayden, when we had you on the first time, an earlier mock, you had McCoy Lemon going I think you had him going 8 to New Orleans, and you had Jordan Tyson going 23 to the Eagles.
Yep.
And I was good with that, but now you seem down on McCoy Lemon.
Well, I just think that the league might be looking at McCoy Lemon more as a slot guy, and I think that the Rams, that would definitely be a fit, but some of these other teams, I think, want the outside ability that McCoy Lemon, I think, can do that. It's just not his overall skill set. Yeah, all the Tyson stuff the last couple of days, everyone makes it seem like he's going to go top 10. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. I just think that Casey Concepcion, if he was healthy in this draft process, there'd be a lot more buzz for him, and I thought his tape this last year was as clean as anybody's.
I will say, though, to push back on that a little bit, McCoy Lemon does play a good amount of outside receiver.
He does.
We did have some big playmakers on the outside. Jacoby Lane's one of them, so he would get those outside targets, but McCoy's versatility allowed him to play both.
Yep.
Not every outside receiver can play in the slot. Not every slot receiver can play on the outside. I think McCoy can excel at either position in the next level.
I feel like you could say the same about Tyson.
Yeah.
You say he danced a lot, but Amari Cooper danced a lot.
I think that's a great compliment.
He's going to come off the line
Sure.
and that was one of the toughest covers. I couldn't play my regular technique with Amari Cooper because I'm like, all right, he going to do this dead leg shit. If he faked the dead leg, he could take off on he got that explosion. So I'm telling you, as a DB, if we were to say, all right, we on the 20-yard line, it's 3rd and 5, go down the list, who you want to guard, who you don't want to guard. They don't want to guard Jordan Tyson. He's the one you're going to say, give me him last. I take the big guy, he okay, I can get hands on him. McCoy Lemon don't really got that shiftiness. He gonna try the 50-50 ball at 5'11", give me that, I love that. Concepcion he gonna get upfield, like you said, it's gonna be one quick move. I'm good with one quick move, you know what I'm saying? Just, I can get hands on you on one quick move. When you come off and it's, I'm like, shit, I turn or I wait, it's a fucking problem. I promise you, and he gonna be a problem in the league.
And you might be able to get hands on him, but if you watch Concepcion's tape, I know you did, but if you watch his tape, they don't get hands on him because, to Hayden's point, he always has a plan with his release, so he knows, and it tells me he watches a lot of film on the guy that he's going to face. I know what this guy struggled with, so I'm going to use that against him with my releases. I'm going to create separation. Boom, then I have wide open.
I don't think it go that deep with him. That's just his style. He quick twitch, he get upfield, pop, and get to his route. And it's so twitchy. He mixing up them little college receivers. That's gonna come down a little bit when everybody make millions. You know what I'm saying? I'm just telling you, it's come now and get to your release quick. That's a little bit easier for us. It's just a little bit easier.
And then with that Jordan Tyson, man, if all push come to shove, just put it up there. Just Just put it up there
He
and let it
throwing
go
Tyson
get it.
Oh, yeah,
50
50
balls
50-50.
with everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, it ain't like he ain't
No,
catching
No, I would
50 balls.
50-50 is what Tyson's really good at.
You
Hell
put
yeah,
it,
you
put
look at
it,
his
put it up
50
there and
balls
say,
right
hey,
there.
give him a chance.
And you love that as a
Like with all
quarterback.
these
One-on-one, even two-on-one sometimes. Go get it. He'll
Give
make a
it-
play.
just
Look,
throw it
back
up there.
shoulder a demon, bro. You throw that bitch back shoulder, he gonna turn his body.
That's what.
So wouldn't you most prefer to cover a receiver who's on injured reserve? Because that's what, right? That's what's going to happen. Well, am I right?
Sound good.
I hope not. I hope not. I hope
It sound
he has a
good.
great career.
That dude, man, that dude's a
Sound
bum,
good,
man.
What we know is that these guys are not going to agree on the receiver class, but I'm really excited for Thursday to come around because we're going to cash it on this bet you guys got going.
You know I've
We're
been
gonna-
spanking Skip on these bets.
True, and have those been cashed in? Have you guys had your
I'm
sushi dinner?
still hungry right now.
I
Starving.
owe him 2 dinners. I do.
Starving right
Yeah.
now.
All right, let's get into the corners of the draft. Okay, I want to take a look at who Hayden has going in the first round for the corners. So you have Monster Delane going to the Commanders. Then you have Jermon McCoy to the Dolphins, Chris Johnson to the Cowboys, and then Colton Hood to the Seahawks. So Hayden, give us a breakdown of these top corners you expect to go in round 1.
Yeah, obviously I want to get Aqib's opinion, but to me,
Yeah.
Delane was the top guy just because the injury concerns with McCoy. I think Delane's calmness changed direction, and he's got enough size, and then 4.4 speed. That was the one thing that popped up actually on the Casey Concepcion tape was he was flying by Mansour Delane. I was like, all right, is Mansour Delane like a 4.46 guy? And then it just turns out I think that Concepcion just really fast. McCoy, he was doing this at 19 years old, tons of press man coverage at Tennessee. He was really sticky. I think the Ohio State guys got him for a couple plays, so did the Alabama kids. But his explosiveness out of the pedal I thought was incredible. So just to me, our team's failing him because of medicals or not. And then I think Chris Johnson's going to be the late riser, and I would not be surprised if he's the corner 3. San Diego State, their turf was a disaster, but his smoothness was just exceptional, and he was able to fall off on these zone routes and then pick some passes off. And then he ran 4.4 flat, and that was going to be the concern with him as well. And then Colton Hood, he was probably the most aggressive of the 4, and he had some really push the receiver out of bound moments with him. I think that his zone coverage stuff was probably the most concern. A lot of quarter stuff where he just abandoned his area. So I think you got to develop Colton Hood, but he has the crazy athletic trait. So and then there's a bunch of guys. I mean, Indiana's got one, D'Angelo Ponce. He's a monster. And then I think Terrell's going to drop just because he might be a small guy that ran pretty slow. But I think the top 3 are set with Chris Johnson joining the top 2, assuming Jermon McCoy is ready to go.
I like it. But I like Terrell. I like Delane is the top dog. I feel like he check all the boxes. McCoy would be probably the top dog, but he got the injury. But them the top 2 for sure. And then I'm going Terrell, man. I'm putting Terrell in there. You could just see his big brother was a corner.
Wow.
You could see it, man. The technique, when he stays square in that back pedal, his press, the playmaking ability. He got 3 picks, but he got to create 11 turnovers, man. He's stripping the ball out. He tackle on his feet. He go after the ball every time he make a tackle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he create turnover. None of these guys just got a bunch of picks, for real. And then after Terrell, I go Hood. I think Colton Hood is the best press man corner out of all of them. His technique is probably the best. He read step, kick, pure step, whatever you want to call it. His shit, he putting that shit on tape. It's dominant. He played chest to chest when he posed to. He turned over the shoulder when he posed to. So I love Colton Hood and press coverage. And then Chris Johnson, he the one who get the picks. He got probably the most picks out of them, touchdowns. But he played G5 football, a little lesser competition.
Yeah.
So it supposed to be better. You know what I'm saying? So you even on some of his highlights, you see him ran by and then it's a bad throw. He catch up, make a play. So I tend to lead him off my highlight tape. If I'm ran by and it's a bad throw, I might leave that off my highlight tape unless I pick it and score. You know what I'm saying? But so I go Delane, McCoy, Terrell, Hood, then Johnson. And probably that's my 5. That's my top 5.
So real quick, if Dallas is sitting at 20 and Terrell's there, would you do it?
I like it.
So do I.
I like
agree.
it, man.
I think Terrell's going to fall, though, just because there was a report from his pro day, and I think I had a little hamstring, but he ran like 4.6.
Yeah.
And,
He
he's a pretty
definitely
small
had a
guy.
hamstring, though, they said.
But yeah, they said, but he ran it. You run your 40 with a hamstring. You run 4.6, man.
I just think there's a chance that he might be available in the second round at this point. I think you're going to run the calculation. Is he a nickel, a small nickel, which most of the league's trying to get rid of small nickels, or is he going to be an outside guy
But when
that
you
runs
say
4
small, what's his size?
I think it's like 180.
I mean, that's just weight. You know what I'm saying?
I got
Yeah, no,
it.
he plays bigger than that for
His
sure.
height.
He was
what's it?
5'10" and 3/4, 186.
Yeah, but just the league right now, like just with man Warrior and stuff, you're seeing a lot more of the nickels, just huge guys. I mean, to stop the
Safety
run.
type bodies.
Yeah. So I think that's just we're kind of used to like, oh, he's just the small corner. You're just going to put him inside. I think the league now is like, all right, we're going to keep those guys on the outside.
He played a lot inside. at
Yeah,
Kinsey.
I think he could probably do both. I just wouldn't be surprised if he's the one to fall, just because we don't know how fast he is.
Yeah, I don't have a reason to move the lane off being the top guy. You know, he's just he got everything.
Yep.
He got everything. But McCoy, if he doesn't tear that ACL, get hurt, he's probably the top guy because
be.
physically,
I'm with you.
Agreed.
like physically, like NFL size body, physically a corner, he's got that. He physical. He put hands on people. He got long arms.
Yep.
He'll come up and hit you, and man to man, he'll lock you down. He makes all the plays. And for him to be the second ranked or one of the top guys and didn't play, that lets you know everything you need to know about him. Chris Johnson, what I liked about him is his ability to make up ground. He did get ran past, but he was able to make up ground, and he'll make you pay if he get his. But he'll make you pay if he get his hands on the ball. You know, he's a touchdown threat. He get his hands on the ball, he can take it to the crib, and I know Lee can appreciate that. But Colton Hood, his story, if I'm drafting, I want a guy like that. You know, I don't know if y'all seen his teammate Eugene Asante. Did y'all see what he said about him? How they came in and they were doing one-on-ones at practice, and it was an off day, and all of the wide receivers, and there's 7 to 8 wide receivers, there's one DB in there. It's Colton Hood. He wasn't even starting yet. So he doesn't have a lot of experience, but I want a guy like that. He going every rep with all these people, 7, 8 wide receivers not taking the play off. He worked his way up, and that's why you've seen all this physicality. He done seen all different routes, all of that he's going to put in the work. And whether you want to develop him or not, that's a guy you want to coach. So if I'm looking at drafting the guy, Hood is definitely going to be one of the guys that's higher on my list because that's stuff you can't teach. There's like that want to and that dog just being a dog, like Billy would tell you, being a corner, man, I've always said it. I think the hardest position to play is corner because quarterback, obviously you got to break everything down and all that, and this gets the most pub, but corner, man, you got to deal with a Tyreek Hill running backwards. Then you don't know when he gonna stop, you don't know when he gonna break, you got to just be in there man-to-man. That's very difficult, so you got to have some type of dog in you. So to do that over and over and over and over with no break, and you out there, you're not starting, he just got this type of mentality that you want when you drafting the guy. So I just like it, but that Jamal McCoy, man, like if he ran that 4.3,
Right.
The only thing is, you know, they worried about long term with his knee, but like physically and all top to bottom, that's the guy to me.
And before you go, Cody,
No, go ahead.
I'm looking at Delane, checking that PFF. Hey, he gave up 7 touchdowns the 2024 season. I was a little concerned for me, you know what I'm saying? PFF say you gave up 7, 5.5 of them probably legit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, hold on.
At Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, but then he shook back in the SEC and balled, so, you know, I kind of swept it under the rug, but
Okay.
I don't like a corner who gave up 7 touchdowns in college. It's just that's a high number for a college corner. Like, to be the top dog, I gave up 7 in one season. I might have to go back. I ain't go back and look at them, but if I'm drafting them number 7, I might have to go back and look at them.
Yeah. But I think the important thing for him is the trajectory. Like he looked really good last
shook
year
back-
against
he
good
shook back
competition.
and ball and strap.
He's good in man-to-man, whether it's press or off. He's got great instincts in zone. He knows how to read and react to receiver. That's why he had 11 pass breakups last year. And he can also cover guys with top-end speed. There's not a lot of guys that can do both, cover those short, twitchy underneath routes, then also have top-end speed to run stride for stride with the guy down the field and then go make a play on the football. So I think he's the most complete corner. I have no problem with him being the first guy off the board. I am with you, though, on Jamal McCoy. I think that kid is a stud, and I think he potentially would be the first corner if he was healthy. Because if you look at his first 2 years, all he did was produce at a high level. He had 14 pass breakups, 6 interceptions. You talk about a guy taking the ball away. He had 6 interceptions the first 2 years. Probably would have had 6 alone this year. That's how good he is at reacting and making a play on the football. I really like him. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be talented at the next level. He's going to be a steal in this draft. I know we talk about the injuries, but to be able to be a top guy in your position while missing an entire season, that speaks volumes about how good he is and how good he can be. And then the last 2 guys, Johnson and Hood, I think they're both very similar type players. I love their physicality. I think they're both good cover guys. They're not afraid to come down and tackle in the run game. And it's not just, wide receivers. They'll come tackle a physical running back as well. So, yeah, you can make an argument for all these guys. I think that the depth that you have at corner in this class, at edge rusher, even at linebacker, some of those second-round guys, I think, are going to be day-one starters with Hill and Rodriguez. So I think this is a very good defensive draft class. Maybe not super heavy at the top, but there's a lot of depth and a lot of talent throughout the first couple rounds.
I want to talk about a name that we have not talked about because it's a name I did not know about until this morning when I mentioned it earlier, Adam Schefter's bombshellish sort of report on ESPN.com about inside draft info. I had never heard of Trayden Stukes, and he's a DB at Arizona State. Arizona State.
Arizona.
I'm sorry. Arizona. Yeah, at Arizona. And he's projected in all the mocks. I don't know how, I didn't go down into your second round, but he's like late second round. Yeah. Okay. And Adam Schefter says he is by far the hottest riser on the board and that he's taken 11 visits to teams in the top 30 and that he's now being projected from corner to safety. And I'm like, corner to safety? And he's a hot riser? Because usually it doesn't go that way. If you're a stud corner, you're a corner because you can't find them. Nobody said to Aqib, well, we're thinking about you at safety. No, you're thinking at corner, even though you ended up, you could play some safety. And you had played some at Kansas, right?
Not interested, though.
Okay, not interested. Well, because the money's not there. It's not the star position. So Adam Schefter is quoting a GM as saying that Trayden Stukes at safety will be better than Caleb Downs. That's the quote that's in this.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I saw it this morning.
Better than Caleb Downs as like a center fielder, as a cover 3 safety, like a ball hawk who makes, according to the GM, freaky plays. So I went back this morning and watched his highlight tape, and there were a bunch of freaky plays on the highlight tape. And he ran 4.33. He's not huge. He's a little over 6 feet, 190-ish. So it's not like he's a strong safety, but if you have freaky ball skills, to me, at your position, I just want to know ball skills. I want to know ball hawk. And at safety, I want Ed Reed. I want somebody with nose for football who's going to turn games on their head by picking off passes and taking them to the house. And yet, I'm looking at the stats on Trayden Stukes. So he had 39 targets last year and no touchdowns. So I don't know, that's pretty good. So are we missing the boat here? I don't know. Is this the guy? Like if Dallas is at 20, should they look hard at Trayden Stukes?
Yeah. So Trayden Stukes is an older kid. I think he walked on at Arizona.
He did, and he's a sixth-year senior, so he's 24.
Yeah, everyone loves him. He played a lot of nickel, but I do think that his best reps were as like a quarter safety. He's the athleticism, the 4.33. I think that's the weird part about. Usually those guys are playing corner.
I agree.
Running that fast.
Like what? Yeah. This is the craziest thing I've ever heard of.
His best moments were where he just has a really good feel in zone coverage, breaking off to the sideline. If he's beat over the top or somebody else made a mistake, he's got the range over the top. So I have him like 39, somewhere in that range, and I thought that I was ahead, and apparently the NFL just kind of surpassed me.
I don't know. Is this going to be the hot riser where he's going to go higher than 20?
24-year-old safety, though, like doesn't pass the round one
I don't get it.
test to me, but I do think that there's a bunch of like these like nickel safety types. The kid from Miami is one of them. Terrell, you can put into that bucket. And then I think Stukes. So there's a bunch of these guys, I think, like in the 30s and 40s. I think all these guys are going to fly off the board. But Stukes, I listened to a couple of his interviews, too, and just absolutely crushes it and then plays with 4.33 speed on top
and he was
of it.
the captain the last 2 years.
So everyone loves him.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What's it do for you? What's it say to you?
I got to go check him out. I ain't really checked him out.
But just the idea of
he's like Dylan Thieneman. Like if they don't get Thieneman at like 12 or 20, stuff, like it's kind of like the next tier
but
down.
who would project a potential star corner as a safety? It just doesn't. I've never heard of that before.
Right.
Never.
Like, why he don't play corner?
I don't know.
But I think today, with how much versatility there is in all these different defensive schemes, they want positionless players. Maybe not with the top 3 pick, talking about Reese and Bailey, but when you have a secondary guy, if you can play corner, if you can play nickel, and you can also play quarter safety or play a middle field safety, that just adds more value.
But you can't. Who do that?
Didn't y'all draft a guy like that?
Who do that
I'm not
in the league
saying
right now?
I'm saying in college,
But he was like a workout
guys that have
warrior,
the capability of doing that. Obviously,
Kind of like a tweener, wasn't he?
No. They did try him at safety, and then they moved him back to corner. But he was a workout warrior. Like he was a combine freak.
And I'm not saying the guy's going to do that in the NFL. I'm just saying when you have that capability coming out, now that gives us more options. Let's try him at corner. Let's try him at nickel. Let's put him at safety.
Yeah.
Let's
I don't
find
like
the best
that.
personnel
I
grouping
see it
for him.
different. Like, if they played him at corner and I like guys who do what they do and dominate what you do.
Yeah.
If I don't know Stooks, you probably wasn't a dominant corner.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or a dominant safety or a dominant nickel, because this is the first time I'm really hearing of you when
I
Skip
understand.
bring it up. You know
Okay,
what I'm saying? So,
all right.
I don't know.
Okay, to sum this up for me, because I'm only interested in Dallas at 20, if Avion Terrell is there, I'm happy with it because I'm with you.
I think he could play outside corner.
Yeah, and he's an irritant where he just mirrors and he just covers because his brother is really good.
Yep.
He was a first round pick.
Yep.
2020, and AJ, and this kid just plays football. He gets up in you and you know he has great fluid sort of athletic ability to cover. And it's just hard. You just don't find that kind of pure cover to me. So I'd be happy with it.
I think he could play outside corner.
I do
mean,
too.
5'11", bro. You solid. Yeah. You this much shorter than Lieb. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got long arms, bro.
Okay.
If you got the technique to do it, then you can do it. So
and if you forced 8 fumbles in your career, that's a lot, man.
That's playing ball.
Yeah.
That's playing football.
Yeah. So, but I'm with you on Delane and McCoy. They're the top of the class for sure.
Agreed.
All right, let's move on to another riser, because last time Hayden was here, we broke down Malachi Lawrence and why he was considered to be one of the draft's biggest risers. But now Hayden even has Lawrence going above edge rusher Aqib Mesidor, which I'm a little shocked by this because he's considered one of the best edge rushers in the class. So Hayden, I would love for you to explain the decision to have Lawrence go above Mesidor.
Yeah, I think Mesidor can go into the teens or all the way into round 2 just because 25-year-old, and I think he's had some stress fractures in his feet. It's kind of a weird combination, but I did like Mesidor. I just think Malachi Lawrence, he's going to go round 1, and Daniel Jeremiah actually was linking, he's heard Malachi Lawrence to your Cowboys at 20th overall, which I think a lot of people that would catch them by surprise, but if you look at Malachi Lawrence, we talked about it, production was there.
Yep.
His get off is there. He's got the right size. He's like developing a pass rush plan. The only reason why we don't think of him as a top 20-ish type of guy is because he played at UCF. But there's a lot of buzz with him, and everybody that watches his tape, you really like his hustle on top of it, but it's just the burst, and he had like 96 percentile jumps and all that. So I'm glad we're talking about it. And it's just, you can put his hand in the dirt, but for the most part, it's what you guys are talking about with David Bailey. It's just like rep after rep, 2-point stance from the outside, getting upfield on the high side, a couple of spin moves back on the inside. But I think Malachi Lawrence, he's one of the guys that, you know, you look at the top 10 pass rushers, they all got crazy juice. And a lot of the guys, the Keldrick Falks, the TJ Parker, we didn't get testing from Mesidor. They don't got 90th percentile athleticism. If you're trying to get 15 sacks in a season, if you want that upside, you got to have that. I think that Malachi Lawrence is like one of the guys that actually does.
But why he don't got 15 sacks or double-digit sacks in a season? If all those projections in the combine say double-digit sacks, why we don't get double-digit sacks from him?
There's a lot of guys that kind of have that profile, though. I mean, the one guy that if you really look at it is Daniil Hunter. It's like almost the exact one-for-one. Obviously, Daniil Hunter's gotten stronger and stronger, and he's a crazy, crazy outlier. But to me, if I'm taking an edge rusher in the 20s, I want the athletic traits. Like I want to take a shot at it because there's a lot of busts that happen. Like we don't talk about it. Edge rushers in the back half of round 1. These guys bust all the time. I think it's because they're taking like the guy with the long arm that can kind of stop the run. They just don't have enough upside. I think that of all the guys, Malachi Lawrence is for sure the one with the cleanest path to 10, 12 sacks in a season.
See, if I want a guy with 10, 12 sacks in a season, I'm going to take the guy who got 10, 12 sacks in a season. Like, If I want a guy who get interceptions, I'm gonna take the guy who got interceptions.
Yep.
I want a wide out who gonna score touchdowns and go up top. Well, I'm probably gonna take the one who did it in college. Who, you know what I'm saying? The proof is in the pudding. I'm going off the tape and the tape first. And Messidor tape say, yeah, I was second in the league. I'm 12 and a half sacks. The numbers is there. You know what I'm saying? If you older, that's almost a plus with me. You know what I'm saying? I don't really knock you for that because give me one contract with you. You about 20. 28, 29, okay, I'm gonna know if I want you or if I don't want you. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I'm still gonna have you, I'm probably damn near drafting you close to your prime. So it is what it is with me with the age, but I'm going off the production, man. Malachi Lawrence, you got that 7.5, 7 sack, that's your max. He double-digit sacks. If that's what I'm looking for, I'm gonna get the guy who done it in the big-time conference. It's already on tape, man, so.
Yeah, I like Malachi Lawrence more. Messidor, you know, he's had all the injuries and stuff, but he didn't really dominate until he was 4 or 5 years older than everybody. And when I'm watching Malachi Lawrence, you talk about the production. Rueben Bain has never had double-digit sacks in college, and he's a top 10 projection. So, like, it ain't always just about the numbers, but you talk about watching the tape. When I watch him, Malachi Lawrence, one is his get off, but two, I think he's second to none when it comes to not staying blocked. You got guys who are explosive, got all these moves and different stuff, but we have a philosophy. Getting blocked is not the problem. Staying blocked is. And Malachi Lawrence, he never stays blocked. And that is something you have to do in the NFL because you are going to win with your second move most of the time. It's rare that pass rushers win with that first move. It's always a counter. You see Micah, he go up, boom, 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 he counters. All of these guys have countered. They don't stay blocked. These are the best of the best linemen in the league. This is what they are. But when you're rushing, not staying blocked, and that's what he is. He can rush from the edge and he can put his hand down in the dirt. He can play inside, he can play outside. And that's why I seen Tampa brought him in. Because I
can see that.
I can see Tampa taking him because he has so much upside and he's younger, and I don't have a problem with this. I don't have a problem with it. Malachi Lawrence, man, I once you brought him up, I went back and watched him.
He perfect for the Bucs.
He can play.
Yeah,
I like it.
They keep mocking.
He's really Shaq Barrett-esque, how Shaq Barrett was. 100%. They play almost the similar style. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shaq Barrett had 19 sacks in this league.
When I watched, bro, I ain't see Shaq Barrett. Shaq Barrett was a smaller, wiggle, can't touch me type of. He just not that. He get blocked. He a motor guy.
No, with Shaq, what I'm saying, when Shaq was with Denver, you know, he was played a certain way. When he got to Tampa, what made Shaq what he was, he didn't stay blocked. Shaq, he might hit you with the cross chop and it might not work, but then he club and counter back. You might have him blocked, but then he's able to, you got his hands on, he can rip down, rip through and get you off of him. That's when Shaq had that 19 sacks, that's what he was doing. Mm-hmm. He wasn't staying blocked. He wasn't always just winning on that first move. So when I was watching him and watching Shaq, I was like,
so how did Messidor get his 12.5 sacks?
See, but so I love Lawrence. I think he's a great athlete. I don't mind him going in the first round, but I have Messidor ahead because he doesn't get blocked initially. He has a great plan.
Who was he playing with?
But
who was he playing with?
Great, but you're going to do the same thing in the NFL. You're going to play with a lot of great defensive players.
You asked the question.
Well, if he goes to the Chiefs, he's going to be playing with George.
And Jones.
And
Jones.
You know what I'm saying? It's the same.
But I'm saying, y'all are saying why Malachi didn't and why Messidor did. Messidor, y'all got him ranked way down here. Y'all got the guy who didn't have the production ranked way up here. So that's what I'm saying. How are we saying the guy that had 14.5 sacks is way down here? The guy that's never had double-digit sacks is way up here. But we talking about production. Which one is it? Y'all can't have both.
I didn't say that. I'm talking about
Rueben Bain. Y'all have ranked way up here. He's never had double-digit sacks.
You have Bain at the top too, though. You said.
But I also have Lawrence better than Messidor. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going off the production. I'm watching the tape.
Same here. I wasn't saying it's because of their numbers. I'm saying because of the tape. You talk about Lawrence.
We all watching the tape.
Huh?
I say we all watching.
We all watch the tape, but I'm just saying. But Lieb has a good point too, though. You always talk about production too. I want a guy to have talent, but also back it up by making plays on the field. There are outliers with that, like Dexter Lawrence who gets double teamed, like a team that's worried more about Bain than Messidor. I get that, but when you watch Mesidor on tape, I just think his toolbox makes him a better prospect than Lawrence. He can beat you with speed. He can beat you with power. He always has a plan, so he's tough to get blocked initially. He does a great job, too, of setting guys up and then, boom, having a counter move off of it, getting to the quarterback, good in the run game, and I think he has a high-effort guy, too, that he can chase down and make plays down the field. I think he's the better overall prospect. That's okay. Nowadays in college, though, a lot of guys are like that. He's not that much older than everyone else because of the COVID years and the 6-year players. Indiana had a bunch of older guys on that team.
So where the production been?
With who?
Mesidor's.
Early on, yeah, because like
Where's it
Malachi
been?
would be like he's coming
Where's
out of
it
the
been?
2029 draft. Like we're
Where's
talking
it
about him.
been?
But okay, we always talk about what have you done for me lately? I want to see the trajectory of you getting better. Mesidor had injuries. Now when he's healthy, he's getting better. I just think
26.
overall.
Yeah, of course.
What the hell mean?
He's
So,
26.
but what you saying?
So
You
what's
saying where have the production been? It's 17, then there's 9 sacks. He got 10.5 sacks. He got 8 sacks. It's there.
He been in college 17 years.
But the production been there for 17 years.
Been in college 17 years. It's
So he can't
glorified.
help if he get hurt and I get a gray shirt and then I get a COVID year. Like that's not his fault.
Yeah.
That's just not his fault. You feel me?
Especially with the bag
So
that
we
these
just
college
talking,
kids are getting.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
he
I'll
getting
stay for another
paid.
2 years.
Yeah, but
I'll play
okay, we can't have it both ways. What's Jamont McCoy?
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah.
Injury. One of the top picks in the draft.
Okay.
This guy, 17 years.
But his-
and
he
what's the
just don't-
difference? The injuries.
But we're not talking about him in the Bain and the Bailey category. We're just talking about him compared to Lawrence. Like we're talking
we're talking
later
about
in the
just
first
those
round.
two.
I like Mesidor, but I wouldn't take a top 10 pick on him or spend a top 10 pick on him. But bottom of the first round, when you're looking for a pass rusher, when you've already got a solidified roster, yeah, I think you can take a shot on a guy who's a little bit older, who has the production as well and flashes on tape. I don't see a problem with that.
So wait a second, Gerald, you're talking so highly about Malachi Lawrence. He should go way above 29, right?
No.
When you have him at 15, 14, 13.
No, I said I wouldn't be surprised if
Yeah.
no, I didn't say he's better than Bain. You brought up the numbers and the production, and you said if I want a double-digit guy, I'm gonna go get a double-digit guy. Bain's never had double digits.
I didn't say that.
No, I'm talking about.
gotcha.
No. I was
He
just
was
kind of
close
talking
though.
this way.
He was 9.5.
I know, but I'm just saying.
He was close.
I'm just saying. That was
Close
a
as it
point
is.
you made.
Half the time down.
The tackle touched the helmet on
What
the
if you get close to winning? You didn't win.
Yeah.
No, I hear what you're saying. No, I get what you're saying, though, Gerald. I do think I understand. It's the same thing with some of these guys that have the injury history. There's a risk involved. They're a little bit older, but there's also a positive of that. Of we know what he is. We know what he does well.
And I'll say this.
And we know what he can do
You
for
talk
us.
about the combine guys
and
all
I'll
the
say
time.
this. Yeah, I'll say this to you guys' point. If they took Mesidor before Lawrence, I ain't gonna be like, what the heck are y'all doing?
Right.
I'm saying I can understand.
And if
why-
before the combine we was doing this and we ain't see Malachi Lawrence combine, I think you would have Mesidor in front of him.
Yeah, I didn't go off his combine because I didn't even look. I went.
I mean, but that's why he on the list right now. That's why I'm talking
I'm
about
be
him.
honest.
Because of the
Until you said his name, I'm like, man, who is this dude?
That's
but
my
then
whole point.
But then when you go watch him, it's like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, it stands
I
out.
get it.
But and to your point, like he does play at UCF, so it's different than watching Mesidor and Bain. These guys, Miami,
I mean,
that have
UCF
prime
the Big
time
12.
games. No, they are,
ain't
but
no
they're
slouches
not
in
as
the
many
12
prime
now.
time games and playoffs.
And they're not playing
like,
16 games. Like they're not in the playoffs. They're not
I
going
get that.
up the
Look, it's not a knock
Khalil
on
Mack
either
with
guy.
the
I'm just-
Buffalo. I'm just saying. Khalil Mack with the Buffalo.
Yeah.
So it's like you can go to a smaller school and still be
Agreed.
like that.
Yeah, Gerald, I got one Oklahoma question for you. Put you on the spot here. Would you take Malachi Lawrence over R. Mason Thomas?
Heck nah.
Okay, so just for the record.
No.
Because R. Mason Thomas is nasty coming
Yeah.
off the edge.
I would love if Tampa took him. Yes.
Okay, just for the record. Okay, I just wanted
Yeah,
to get
nah,
that.
heck no.
Okay,
No.
all right.
No, I would not.
Okay, just real quick, because before we get out of here, I do want to we haven't talked about offensive linemen in this draft, okay? So I do want to get into that. So, Hayden, let's pull up who you have going in your first round of offensive linemen. So, who stands out to you for the offensive tackles?
There's no sure thing. It's a weird draft class that Monroe Freeling's my top guy, and I'm on an island there, but I'm just projecting forward because he's played only a year and a half, but he's got all the physical tools that you're looking for, and his last 4 games of the season were his 4 best, and obviously he's going against the SEC guys. So I like his projection the most. And then the top guys, Fanu and Malinois, those are right tackles, and both of them have some flaws where I think Malinois doesn't have the crazy range in pass protection. Spencer Fanu a little bit smaller of a guy. I really like Fanu. I think that Noah might end up being an interior player, kind of depending on the offense. And then Proctor, he's got the 5-star pedigree. You can see it in moments, but he got beat inside and outside a little bit too often for Ty Simpson. And then Arizona State, he's got a developmental guy. Chase Basantis is an interior guy. So all these guys have flaws. If I was going to pick who's going to be the best 3 years from now, it's going to be Monroe Freeling. I think that next year, if he went back to school, he would have been like a top 5 pick overall. So I think the Browns, they're the team that needs the tackle the most, and they need a left tackle at 6 overall. So you're going to take Noah Fanu and kick him to the left side. Are you going to reach on Monroe Freeling, who everyone thinks is probably better off at 17th overall? So they're going to be in a little bit of a predicament here. But I think that Monroe Freeling, you got to imagine with him. But all the top left tackles in the league look like he does, and I would be willing to take on the risk with them.
It's hard for me to watch O-linemen and do this. You know what I'm saying? But I'm with you because nephew played edge, Georgia played Charlotte. So that's what I'm watching the entire game. When nephew ain't in, I'm watching the people who in over him. Yeah. And I'm seeing what they doing against. And Monroe Freeling was fucking dominant. I know it was Charlotte, but he was athletic. He was run game.
Did nephew
mauling
go against him?
My nephew was at Charlotte playing against Georgia.
I know, but was he matched up with him?
Oh, yeah, he went against him
and he had a hard time.
couple of times, and it wasn't pretty. Okay. You know what I'm saying? He looked dominant, you know what I'm saying? So he was huge. First of all, he was like 6'8" or however big he is.
He's huge.
He was a monster. He was major. What I seen, it was just athletic. It was NFL-like, you know what I'm saying? After that, I'm like, nephew, he was a dog. Nephew had to sack that game, though, but I think it was on the other side. The sack came from the right side.
Hey, all that matter.
That's all that matters.
That's all that leave.
Had to sack that game.
Get on that board.
He got on the board against Georgia, you know what I'm saying? But I watched, bro, and it looked NFL-like. It looked like a starter in the league.
Agreed.
Sure.
Yeah.
I like the kid from Penn State. He's more of a guard, but
Vega, so good.
Yeah, man, I like him.
Good.
I know we talking about tackles and stuff, but that kid from Penn State, man, I know we trying to get our defense together in Tampa, but if you put him up there with Tristan, man, I wouldn't be mad at it.
Combos.
I wouldn't be mad if Tampa drafted him. That kid, he ain't give up no sacks. He barely gave up a pressure. I really like that kid from Penn State, man. He can ball. Penn State just put out some good old linemen.
Man, they do.
They put out some real good old linemen, man. Yeah, so I like the kid from Penn State. If I'm picking like the guy in the draft, I like him.
Yeah, I watched him with Andy Kotelnicki, who was the offensive coordinator at Penn State, bring him in motion from slot receiver and block this defensive end. This poor kid, man, like
dude
sitting there, man. And you saw, like, he said, "Oh shit, I got to take this on." And I mean, he is. But that's a testament to his athleticism, too.
Yeah.
I think that's a big factor in the NFL. I like all these guys. I think any of them could be top players in the NFL, but the guy I like the most, if I was picking, is Francis Maui-Noah. I just think his experience, I know he started all 3 years as a right tackle, but there's been talks about him, and you have him as an interior offensive lineman, moving him to guard. I think that versatility will be valuable at the next level, because sometimes when you're a younger player, you might not start right away, but you need to be ready to back up a tackle, to back up a left tackle, to back up a right guard, a left guard. You've got to have some versatility to you. I think Maui-Noah has that. I do think, too, with his pass protection, when I watch him on tape, which makes me feel comfortable as a quarterback, is he understands what drop I'm taking and where my launch point is in the pocket. He knows when it's time in quick game to be firm and to hold set on a defensive end. He also knows if I'm taking a 5 or 7 step drop that he can let him run by a little bit more. I'll step up and then wash the DN by. So I think he's a very smart, instinctive tackle as well. So, yeah, there's an argument for all these guys, especially at the top. I like Freeling. I like Spencer Fano, but I would take Francis Maui-Noah if I was drafted in this draft.
So I'm with Aqib on this. I have a hard time evaluating offensive linemen and really locking down on he's better than him.
Yeah.
Unless I'm watching a college football game, and I go way back in the day at USC, Anthony Munoz. He was just a mauler where he's just a man among boys. Jonathan Ogden at UCL, they're just like, you just say, oh, there's a Hall of Famer. Right? And the only one who caught my eye was Freeling, because he's so huge that he looked like he could be a dominant NFL offensive lineman. I'm with you. Like, that's my gut feeling. I'm going to take Monroe Freeling, and I think I got a chance to have a great one.
At least a starter, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, you know, O-lineman, man, they can play 10, 12,
Oh, yeah.
so many years. So even if sometimes you get guys in the first round and it's like, oh, he might not be all pro, Pro Bowl, but you get a guy that could be a 12, 13, 14-year guy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's what you need. You just need consistency. You need them.
Yeah. All right, you guys, we're a couple days from the draft, but I want you guys to go check out Hayden's very cool mock draft website. It's underdogmockdraft.com, and you can actually go submit round 1 of your favorite team's 7-round mock draft, and it'll grade your picks. So super fun. That's Hayden's website. Go check it out. We're a couple days away. We're going to be live on Friday, as always, so we're going to have so much to talk about with the draft, so I cannot wait. But thank you guys so much for watching another episode of The Arena Gridiron, presented by Underdog.
Whoa, whoa.